Hey Andy, hey Daniel, I'm back. Still feel like shit, but I'm back. Totally forgot much of this guitar. Hey Andy, bang out some ZZ top. I used to play a ZZ Top song in Drag Race. I can't remember what it goes like now. What it was. Hey Dungmac. Hey Big Ped. Hey Alex. Hey Emelina. Yep, I'm alright. It's hot. Us Scottish people can't handle the heat. It was actually raining today and it was quite cold. It was fine. And then really, I don't know, about an hour and a half ago, it just started getting hot again. So I've got my flannelette for wiping the sweat off my face, which is going to happen. Hey Kit Kats. I forgot to. I was going to restring the telly earlier, and I forgot just for you. Hey Andy, good thinking. It's after 8 o'clock. I started a wee bit late. Well, I need to adjust. I don't recall ever having set time on my phone. On my phone, it's 5 past just now, and it's like early. So I normally go on when my phone says 8 o'clock, and then it's a couple of minutes until I can actually drink, because I obviously can't drink bucky till 8 o'clock. And customary number is number 3. There's only 2 weeks I missed out, so it's the 3rd week off. Yes. Cheers, everyone. It's a good one. That's the first bucky I've drank since download. Actually, I had the 1.5 litre bottles of Coke with that in it, which is just perfect for a bucky. Although ideally it would have been a 750ml bottle of Coke. It just looks like it. Hey Rocket Ronnie, how's it going? Yeah, on the Magners. Magners is alright, yeah. I always think to see if I'm like driving to a gig and it's like, you know, have a drink. I can have one Magners and enjoy it. Whereas if it's a case of do you want a lager, it's like, oh, just have a Coke instead, sort of thing. But I can enjoy Magners because I think it tastes nice. I'm not sure it's the best idea. I don't know if I can drink a whole carry out of it. It's a funny thing. I felt really last night. My pals were over. We were having a Scalextrics race, and I had my bottle of bucky, which was sitting. Actually, you saw the thumbnail picture, and every time you could you could get a wee bit faster on one of the cars on one of the tracks by hitting off it. So I ended up staying there, and my pal came up with random can. I don't know. It was like Lidl. You can get wee cans of like mojito and pina colada, and it's like 99p a can. So I had, I don't know, about 10 of them or something like that. It's that random cans. So I ended up just drinking cocktails all night, which is a kind of really weird thing. It's a different type of drunk than what I'm used to, because I'm normally used to the Buckfasts, which has got caffeine in it as well, which is why I can talk so much shit. So who's bought guitars? I've not bought any. I've been doing. I almost had that acoustic ready. Obviously, you know who painted that. But I'm gonna have to shave the saddle down. I put one string on it, and the action's too high. There's enough play to shave the saddle down. I think they intentionally put high saddles on some of these guitars just so you've got something to work with. Like I would much rather have the saddle too high than you can cut it down, and have it too low and then you've got to buy another one or try and extend it or something. Kind of weird. Oh, Steve, saving you for your family. It's always a good thing. So I'll just be racist and sexist and tell dirty jokes so that your family don't want to see it. You can't let the family see that. Hey, Kenneth. How's it going? Oh. So, no new guitars? What have you all been doing? Mike, I've got away for 3 weeks and nobody's bought a new guitar. My latest one is it's ridiculous, mate. My PRS acoustic, you could fit a full finger under the bridge. I take it you mean I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even know PRS made acoustics. I was talking about something. I didn't actually. I was going to say I saw a video the other day. I saw it and I didn't click on it. It was Anderton's. Is like they've done a Silver Sky, but it's a Telecaster. Oh, of course, Alex, you did. You got the CS250 Cardinal series. I keep meaning to look out the my Thor series because I think it's got the same bridge. I think it's still got the original bridge, but it's got modern tuners on it, modern saddles which fit. I think they're Wilkinson, if I remember correctly. Somebody makes, because the thing about the saddles, normally like a saddle on a Strat or something, the screw goes in the middle of the saddle, but on that and on Ibanez Roadsters, the screw goes in kind of the left-hand side of the first three saddles and then the right-hand side of the other saddles. So obviously you could put normal saddles on if you drilled new holes in the right positions. But I think my Thor sound had whoever it is has done it before me. A 2015 Mexican Strat for the Pond 330. I think that's probably all right for a Mexican Strat these days. I'm actually reading the Squire book. The guy, the leader of that blues band I was depping for, not in it anymore. Which is a shame. I'm a wee bit disappointed, but I mean, I was really, really enjoying it. So maybe by only being in 3 times, I didn't get to any stage where I was still definitely getting better and enjoying it more every week. So I don't know what I might. He said something about maybe getting me back later or something. I don't know, but I mean, it was good fun. I enjoyed doing it. But the guy gave me a couple of books. I don't know if you want these. It was like a Squire book and a Les Paul book. I know. I just was going to say the Les Paul book's sitting here. Oh. I was like, yes, I'll read that in the bathroom. That's fine. Pretty chunky. And I got the Squire one as well. So reading the Squire one, they were talking about I was quite interested in their story. And my next guitar is going to be this is what happened when I was at Download. So I'm going to make a Bucky caster and I'm going to put that on the scratch plate to make it yellow. And then I'll put, because I'm covering up all the holes, I can put my own holes in it. So it might only have one pickup or it might have something a bit silly in it. And it'll be the Buck Taxocaster. Try and get someone else. I'll see if I can get enough money back to pay the fine. It was £100 to get the clamp removed. 1958 Hofner set at the car boot this morning, £15. That's disgusting, really. My pal Ronnie's right into Hofners. I'm not sure if I know what a Hofner Senator is. Sounds like an expensive one. There's a President as well, isn't there? That might be the really expensive one. That's like a sort of early arch toppy. Is that an electric guitar? I don't know. Where to buy a Yamaha SG3 300 700 to save up for a 1,000 or 2,000. I don't know what the 3 and 700 is. There's an awful lot more than that in there, Dunkmac. There's a guy, if you look on, I assume it's still there. I think it's eBay. There's a guy in the border somewhere who's got like 100 Yamahas for sale, and there's an awful lot. There's like 20 different models of SG. Some of them are really ugly. There's like the SG30. They kind of look, when they get stuff bolted in the top. They get what's that? There's a Gibson SG that came out at one point that had like a surface mounted control panel to save money, so you don't have to route the back. It's got like a panel and it just looks like someone stuck a panel on it and made it themselves. Kind of look a bit. Some of them look a bit like that. The one I had was a 200 and it was really good. I imagine the 300 is probably the same as the 200, but maybe got binding or something, or maybe a different color. I don't know. Oh. How much were my Mad Malco first edition t-shirts? Unfortunately, there only is 2 editions. There's all the Mad Malco guitars t-shirts. There only are 10 that exist. So if you've got one of them, I think I've got 7. Because I got all different colours. There was a black one, a white one, and a grey one. And they've gone out. The black one I gave to Scott, I think. The white, I can't remember. I think Jerry Sun and the Smoking Gun has one. And I think Ivor's got the other one. I didn't realise it was going to be so difficult to fucking organise getting more of them. It's much easier when you just tell someone to get you t-shirts. The Strat's a maple neck. I like a maple neck. Oh, you're worried about keeping it clean? Well, just now this is a bad example. This one's been, I don't know if you can really see there. This one, I think someone sanded the fretboard at some point, so it's like bare maple. So eventually, I'd love to refinish it. But normally they're lacquered, which is so they're kind of easier to keep clean, I would have thought, than rosewood, because it's got lacquer on it. But it looks like good fun. I mean, actually, this is actually, I've got a Mexican Strat bridge right here. I need to get a trem bar for it. I'm really kind of starting to notice that a little bit with Strats now. Sort of noticing that if there isn't a trem there, I'm kind of missing it. I don't really miss it on guitars that I would. I don't play a telly. Go, I wish the trem was there. It's only Strat just because I think I've got a couple of them now that I've got it. I get used to it. You've got a green one. All right, you've got the black with the green right and the Mad Malco t-shirt. Yes, oh, that must be worth money sometimes. I think Blitzkrieg might still have a couple of them. They were a misprint. They were meant to be. It was meant to be. I ordered like, I don't know, like 4 orange ones and 5, or whatever it was, orange ones and green ones and white ones, and they were all black with orange writing, green writing, or it was like, I don't really mean that. I mean, the actual t-shirt was meant to be orange with Mad Malco guitars on it. And then when it came through, it was just said Mad Malco, and it's like, oh. So those will be rare because I'll never make more of them. The next ones will definitely say Mad Malco guitars when I eventually do it. I did see Mr. White's Mad bootleg t-shirt. Things if I could get them as easily as I could get the first lot, I just need to put my arse in gear and do it. I want to get a deal with a shop in Glasgow. I should just go in, and I'm sure they must be able to do some sort of deal where I can have a design. You know, I'll buy 20 or something like that, and they keep the design. So maybe at the end of every month or something, I can, if anyone wants to order any, they can order them, and I can order, 2 of this, 3 of this, and 5 of that, or whatever, and then go and pick them up and then send them out. Just do it maybe at the end of every month. I've never really thought about this before. That's maybe the way to do it. So they can have like a monthly order off me, and because I think the hard bit, the expensive bit, is to make the print thing. Once you've got the print thing, which costs like 20 quid, every t-shirt after that. So the first t-shirt costs 25 quid or whatever it is, or 20 quid, because 15 quid is setting up the thing to print, to make the template or whatever. And then after that, the t-shirts become cheaper, and you just use the same template sort of thing, or however it works. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just pleased you put Mad Malco guitars. You could quite easily written Mad Malco as a fanny or something like that on it, which would have actually equally been really funny. Oh, did I watch your Gretsch video? I think I did, Mr. White. I can't remember. I was drunk last night, but I saw it and watched it. I was so drunk last night. I was like, I'm doing. If you see me doing all these guitars from the Bucky Rage, the guy, the guy who's got the Voxes and the Airlines and stuff like that. I've been doing them. He gave me their last album on vinyl. Up here. So last night we're sitting with my pals. It was 2 o'clock in the morning after all night electricking and drinking. I was happy. I've got a record of somebody actually knowing. I was like, oh, the Bucky. Was like, put it on or listen to it, and it was like, oh man, that's really, really sludgy. Really sludgy. It was like pure whoa, boom, 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 and about, do you think it was during the 3rd song on it? I was sitting there and I was like, oh shit, I've just had a thought. Like, what? Is this meant to be at 45, not 33? And the 2 guys before I was like that pair, oh, put it up to 33, and it was like pure, it was no longer it was like, whoa, dum, dum, dum. It was like, so Bucky Rage sounds quite interesting. It doesn't sound that broken. It just sounds quite strange when you listen to it at the wrong speed. So we were listening to it at 33 instead of 45. Repairs, restorations, and rants. I like it. Yes, and repercussions. I don't know about the restorations thing. Well, yes, I suppose I'm not really, maybe not restoring things to their former glory. I'm restoring them to make them work, I suppose. I suppose I'm saving a couple of guitars now. That silver Ibanez. If you see one of them, that's really good. It's a Geo. It's a Geo. That's an awful good guitar. That silver one. There's really not anything I would really do to it. Ideally, I would rather have one that didn't say Geo on the headstock. But apart from that, it's a really good guitar. If you can find one of them, they'll be quite cheap because nobody knows what they are. But it's like, again, maybe one of the differences I think with the Geo range is they don't have as much time spent on the finishing, the frets and stuff like that. So it might not be basically the main difference between that and like a Japanese one is time spent in the frets. But You're never going to get it to play exactly like that, but you can get it to play really fucking good. So actually, yeah, is your Cardinal series actually working? Although that saddle does look really bad. I think I've seen it happen all the time. The saddle's kind of L-shaped, and it's kind of like you can see, well, 40 years old in it. So if you're going to make it something strong, you don't make it horseshoe shaped and attach it from one side. You attach it from the middle and make it solid. Hey Ian, how's it going? Oh, struggling a wee bit coming back on it. I'm fair guzzling the bucky to get my enthusiasm back up again. So who was average or poor at downloads? I think poor people were the people who didn't smuggle booze in every day, having to buy pints. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to do it differently this year. Next year was pretty much perfect, but I was too drunk the whole time. I never got super, forget my name, sick in my shoes drunk at all. But pretty much from when we got there, I was just comfortably sozzled the entire time, and then the heat and stuff started getting really, I was more tired. It was like an endurance thing, which is not the way to do these things. What I should do is, next year I'm going to maybe drink at night. Do you know what I mean? After dinner, not immediately. Not you're right. Let's go. Hold on, quick shot first, banging spirits and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. Maybe if I take some beers next time, I don't really drink that much beer, so I could quite comfortably sit during the day and drink one beer and it'll last me hours. But who was average or poor? Did I see anyone I really didn't like? I think the problem was I was just too drunk to really remember. Did go and see quite a lot of bands, but the problem is I didn't know. Normally we were like, let's looking up bands to find ones that sounded cool or ones you would go and see, but that didn't really happen. We just kind of went to see the bands. So I remember seeing them, but I don't remember the names because we never kind of looked them up and intentionally went to see them. We just went, let's go and see those on that stage. Watched them for 10 minutes, didn't like them and left, but never actually remembered who they were. Metallica were quite good. So I did quite enjoy them. I do like I like Hetfield. I think he's cool and he's funny and he's pure carrying it. I like the bass player. Kirk Hammett, the guitarist, is it Kirk Hammett? Oh. It was a really strange sound they had. It sounded like he'd just plugged straight into the desk and he was 1.5 times the volume that he should have been. So it was and it was kind of bizarre because he was really, really fucking loud. But see what he was playing? I was really, really noticing mistakes in it. Like sort of thing, like, okay, I couldn't play it right now, but if you gave me like a week to practice the set, I could have done as well as him, kind of thing. Which is not, obviously I ain't no pro guitarist, but I thought it was really strange. Just like his choice of solos as well he didn't really do anything that I can't do, which is not normally what you get in these bands where you can go and watch Paul Gilbert for 5 minutes. He does 20 things. I've no idea how you do or anything like that. Yeah. I don't even know. Bring Me the Horizon were quite good. They're a relatively modern band. All the bands this year were sort of, I would kind of describe, most of them I would describe them as sort of power pop punk, sort of punk rock kind of thing. The bands were kind of like that. It's kind of weird. They seem to go through cycles at downloads. I mean, last year's one, they were all sort of not classic rock, but kind of like classic rock. I remember at one point we were sitting in, it was like the first band we heard that was actually I would really class as heavy metal was Megadeth, and they were the first thing on the was like 6 o'clock on the Saturday. So all day, all night Thursday and all day Saturday, we'd not seen any what I would class as heavy metal until Megadeth. So it's kind of bizarre. The bridge pickup isn't working. I'll just if it was working, it's very unlikely it's broken. It'll just be a wire come off, or the pots burst. It's very unlikely it's the pickup because the pickups in that area will be amazing. They'll be basically they'll be Ibanez Super 70s sort of thing. Go-to versions of the same pickups they put in all the cream pickups they put in all the 80s guitars. It'll be them. They will be good. for the St. Anger album, Bob Rock sent Kirk back to Steve Vai for guitar lessons. Wow. I didn't know that. I do remember watching the St. Anger. I've never really been that huge a Metallica fan. Their albums I don't think sound good. Up from the Black Album, I like the sound of that album, not necessarily, but it's like it sounds good. Whereas the earlier ones with all the good songs on them, kind of sound like you're listening to it on an AM radio, really loud. It's like pure clipping, and the drums are fucking just pure, and it's like there's no bass. I don't mean there's no bass guitar. There's no bass in the whole mix. It's like, there's no bass in the drums, there's no bass in the guitars, there's no bass in the singing. It's just pure trebly as fuck. So I've never really been that much a fan of Metallica. And then my pal bought I think it was a DVD of that, the St. Anger thing, and watching it, and it's a really difficult watch. It's as bad as Let It Be by the Beatles. I don't mean the Peter Jackson recent one, the original film, which I saw, and it's like you're watching it, and it's kind of I'm glad I wasn't there filming it. If you know what I mean, it's like I don't really want to be in this room, kind of thing, watching it. And that was very much like that as well. Pop punk, yeah, no. Well, it was all right. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Bring Me Horizon they were a good stage show and all that. I can't remember what the lineup of the band was or anything like that. They did have an amazing video. The one thing that really they did disappoint with was they did an amazing light show, and there was this bit where they'd like a big massive screen up behind the band, and they had this big demon monster thing like on somehow filmed in 3D on the screen, kind of going like that with flames coming out, and it was like, whoa, pure next level of stage show. Pink Floyd, or fuck that. This is where it's at. It was pure amazing, and the singers like that, pure, yeah. If you like that, you won't believe what's coming up later on. And I was like, pure, oh, something better than that. And it was really disappointing because it didn't really have anything even as nearly as good as that. I was kind of expecting something better than the big scary monster that was halfway through the set towards the end. So it was like, yeah, and it was like, when they'd done their last song, it was like, all right, well, let's see what this big one's, and that was then finished. You're like, oh. So, yeah, Bring Me Horizon. For someone who doesn't know any of your music, don't say, you think that's good, wait till you see the later on one and not have something more impressive. I imagine Kick had is Amp Sim live. I don't know, possibly. He was playing I did see the guitar live, I suppose. Like not on a screen because we were quite near the front. I saw the Peter Green. I assume that's what he was using anyway. He used it for quite a lot of the set, you know. That guitar he was playing, the Les Paul, and the cameraman was loving it. They obviously were aware of it. It's a super big shot of it, you know, on the massive screen and stuff like that. Amazing. Yeah, I was starting to talk on. The Mexican Fenders are a good buy for that, because see, to be honest, I think when I first remember seeing them, they were $299 brand new. So they've gone up in price. So if you'd bought one of them earlier on, you're probably doing quite well. The mix is up I was going to say on the Black Album, up to the Black Album. Then everything after the Black Album is kind of mince. Yeah, I think that's. Although I did like, I remember, I think it's a couple of albums ago when they did, is it Death Magnetic? When they've got Robert Trujillo on the bass. I thought that sounded good. I've never actually listened to the whole album, but I remember hearing the singles and going, yeah, actually that's more like it. Because they kept doing covers. It really annoyed me. What's the one they always do? Whiskey in the Jar. It's really annoying the way he says it's Whiskey in the Jar-O. It's like, going to not put that O in the end, it shouldn't be there. Oh, it's Whiskey in the Jar-O. To go with, but for my daddy, oh, Whiskey in the Jar-O. Going to not do that. Metallica sucks. To be honest, I never really got it. I do know they did make sense. See, if you watch I assume it's probably on YouTube these days. I don't know how we managed to have the DVD of it. The Freddie Mercury tribute concert. The full version of the Freddie Mercury was at 91 or something like that. They opened the show, and did they do? I think they cover Tie Your Mother Down anyway. So they came on and they opened the show and they played like the 3 current hits off the Black Album, and then they're turning up on first, 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that, with his, all dressed in black with his tight jeans and stuff like that, and they really do kick it, and it's really good. But again, that's the sound that the person doing the video or recording it made. No, they didn't. They probably didn't have very much input in what that was, so therefore they sound much better than it is on the records. Same with that "For Whom the Bell Tolls" song, which is I heard them play that. I mean, to be honest, I saw them from kind of halfway for the first half of the set on the Thursday night, and then listened to the second half from the tent, and then we were kind of at the front in front of the sound desk for the first half of the second on the Saturday night, and then we kind of watched the rest from the back. So we did hear all the songs. "For Whom the Bell Tolls," which is my favourite Metallica song, but it's got to be that live version with Cliff Burton starts with a bass solo, because the sound of it sounds like they're playing at 10 o'clock in the morning at some football stadium in America when they weren't popular. And it sounds great. And then you go, I'm pretty sure I've got that CD, put the CD on, and it's that pure horrible, tinny, bad mixy stuff. Just unlistenable to crap. Don't want to complain about them. Yeah, else did we actually see? It's like, I think that's why I'm thinking I was too drunk. Like, not really been able to remember enough. It was too much drinking. Kind of a waste. Ghost were good. Desmond Cash said, "Pick of Lars and Cliff for the capture should have been Lars." Oh dear. Actually, I don't know. See, the thing is, I kind of like and hate Lars at the same time. He's got a really annoying face, and he's got a really annoying voice. But see, if he had a different face and a different voice, I think he'd be cool. It's just he's just got one of those faces that even if you didn't know who he was, no idea anything about it, and you saw a picture and was like, this guy's like, looks like a dick. I'm sorry, he does. It's a shame. But you see him, he pops up, and he's in the film Anvil and all that, been very nice, and he does have a slightly annoying, whiny voice as well. It's like, I don't know. I think he's probably all right. And you wonder what it would be like. But I think, to be honest, see, one of the things that kind of put me off Metallica at the start, see the haircut called an undercut. Used to get a guy when I was at uni and had an undercut. So hair kind of looks normal, and then you can put it in a ponytail and it's like totally shaved. So that's a really, really horribly ugly haircut, I think. I think that kind of put me off a little bit. I've never had that. I never would have that. I do remember that when I went down to Ozfest in '98. Thinking, my God, because I was the only one of my pals that had hair like this anyway. And it's like, oh my God, there's lots of other people on the Ozfest bus with hair like me, and then it's like once a few hours in, everyone's going to sleep. They all go into ponytails, and every one of them in an undercut. I'm like, no, I've got hair on the side of my head. Look, feels really weird. There you go. For Whom the Bell Tolls, it's amazing, yeah. But that's, Kirk Hammett's guitar playing and that's really good. Although, to be honest, I think the star of the show is James Hetfield. I didn't really get that until you see him live, and it's basically he is holding the whole thing together. Lars is a good drummer and stuff like that. I suppose Robert's like a hired hand, but it's James's gig. He's the one with the charisma and all that. Which I didn't really have that. I didn't get that from that kind of monster film, because some of that I found really difficult to watch. There's a bit where I think it's him go up to Lars and he's right up to his face going like that, "No, we're fucking not doing that. I'm not coming back. Fuck off." And then storms out. They're like watching this, it's filmed, and it's like, it's really awkward to watch. Oh. I always thought Motorhead's Bomber was a better light show than Pink Floyd's. Well, I've heard of that. I never saw the Bomber. I think that might have been I think Scott told me that was his first ever job as a roadie, was roadieing for Motorhead on the Bomber tour. Was that pure? Oh, that must have been fun. And it's like on the first night, he got they tied him up in the riggings up next to the Bomber, and then left him there. So he was there for like 12 hours or something, like 20 feet in the air, tied to the rigging. So it's like, yeah. Yeah. Occasionally, Andy, telly time. Imagine watching TV. I've not watched TV in years. I've just caught up with that submarine thing. I saw things on YouTube. It seemed ridiculous. But I don't know. In saying that, I didn't get to see the I think Roger Waters' light show for that thing he did a couple of weeks ago was probably pretty amazing. The wall stuff. I'd even had the opportunity to go to that. It's like the singer in the blues band. I've got a spare ticket to go, and at that point I was sitting outside the Barras in the car, waiting to go in and see Pete and Diesel, and it's like there's an opportunity for seeing one of my guitars on stage in the Barras. I can't go and see Roger Waters. Hate the name, Clowns Comical. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of sounds a wee bit like kind of sounds like someone that Godzilla would fight. It's like a sort of comic book name. I thought they're not. I don't have a big thing with the name. I don't think it's a great name, but it's not a bad name. There's so many bad names. It's like System of a Down. It's a terrible name for a band. I was really disappointed when I heard them and thought that's really good. What are they called? System of a Down. Oh, that's a really bad name for a band. I don't know how it comes in there. I seen Bomber at the Apollo. Wow. I don't know if that was the first one in the tour. Hey Taylor. A day-long telefest. She invited Kitty Cats. You'd have loved that. Leveled recount some really worn frets and stuck push pulls in for series and oop. And the neck pickups has a casing pre-wired separately. Oh, all right, aye. So you can flip you can put it oop out of phase. It would be satirical if they're smarter. Well, is Megadeth better? I think it probably is. It's kind of funny because it's like, oh, death, that's pretty full. Megadeth, it's not just death. No, you don't just die, you mega die. I find that's humorous. And although you wouldn't think that Dave Mustaine is humorous, I think he is. I used to have a picture of Dave Mustaine on my wall. It was from a guitar magazine, and it was, what was it? It wasn't an effects pedal. It was some sort of unit you could put like a CD in, and it would slow it down but pitch correct it, so you could learn guitar parts. So you could put on whatever album you wanted and play it at a quarter speeds, but it would pitch correct it so you could play along and learn the solos. And it was David obviously been sponsored by this company. He had to hold it. You had to hold it up like this and smile, and the smile is fucking hilarious. You can just imagine going like that. I'm Mega Dave. I don't smile. Like try and smile, and it's like sort of kind of like like sort of like Terminator from Terminator 2 when Arnie's trying to smile, that kind of thing. It's a sort of smile. No, push your cheeks back. Well, how did it? Push your cheeks back more. What like this? Yeah, sort of. Can you kind of make go? But it's him holding this thing, and it's really funny. I think it's meant to be. Bomber at the I can't imagine what Bomber was like. I mean, I saw Motorhead twice, and I'm going to say when I say in their prime, I don't think they really changed from like 78 until 98 or something like that. It was 2001 was the second time I saw him, so I probably saw him in, I don't know, 98, 99 and 2001 at the Barras, and it was flipping loud. I was when I actually got to go crowd surfing. First time I'd ever been crowd surfing. The only time I've ever been crowd surfing. A couple of times. It was amazing. I didn't really know that much of their songs, but I was aware that that there are quite a few songs that sound exactly like Ace of Spades at the start. One of them, I can't remember which one it is. The one that sounds most like Ace of Spades is on the album as well. Rogers, the book on the recording in Dark Side is brilliant. First chapter is just him just slagging off Dave. Yeah, not better at all. I don't know. But I mean, the thing is, he's kind of right, Roger. I mean, he did do all the work and stuff like that. And what is that? I think we should dissolve the band. And they went, no. Why don't you just leave? And Roger's like, I think we should just end it. It's like, no. You just leave and we'll continue on their own. And you're like, there are a couple of later on Pink Floyd's songs I don't hate, but I really didn't enjoy that. For my first real thing in Pink Floyd was when Pulse was out, whenever that was. I remember it being on TV and taping it, and it had a fair bit of Dark Side of the Moon in it, and it was so different because for me, I always thought Pink Floyd, not knowing really anything about music, I heard it and I'd seen live shots of them. They've got 3 keyboard players, 2 drummers, 4 guitarists, 9 backing singers, 12 saxophone. Okay, not that many. You know what I mean? There's about 12 folk on stage or something. It's this big produced thing with the lights and stuff, and it's like pure. Oh, there's just some guy in a black t-shirt going. I didn't get it at all, and I just didn't like Pink Floyd. I used to get oh fuck. If it was sat in a pal with a multi-disc CD player and they got up here, and you'd look at it and go like, oh fuck, it's been on for like 25 seconds. That means it's Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? And then you would get the sort of, it'd just be. Then after 2 minutes, you would get the, which now I quite like, but not when you're. Oh, we could get. I've not heard all the Stone songs and stuff. You can get 4 Stone songs in there. You play Paint It Black, 90s Never Breaking. Instead, you just get. Megadeth trumps a lot of bands. I don't know. To be honest, I was always a bit of a fan. I like the ones. There's a few off Countdown to Extinction. Dun, dun, dun. Symphony of Destruction is amazing. That's not Countdown to Extinction. It's a different album. Symphony of Destruction is. I like that song a lot. I like the one from Bill and Ted's Go to Hell. That one's fucking brilliant. And Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, that album, Peace Sells and Who's Buying or something. That I like them, but I don't like everything they've done. I don't hate any of it, but it's not more. Megadeth for me are not one of those bands. Like, see if you like Judas Priest, for example, it's like pure. Oh, what do you think of Judas Priest? Oh, I really like Breaking the Law, and another song you got. You're gonna fucking love all of Judas Priest. Or it's like, oh, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I like Bad Moon Rising. Do they have any other good songs? Like, here we go. There's. No, not all, I don't mean they're all the same, but they've all got a similar sort of vibe to them. Megadeth, for me, don't have that. Some of the songs have it. I don't like the sound of the band. That's what I'm trying to say is I like the sound of the band of Judas Priest for most of the time. It's like the band kind of always sound the same, even though they're playing different chords. But it's like they've got a sound, and I generally like the taste of it. So even the songs that aren't really that good sound good. Whereas that I don't think that really happens with Megadeth. They're still a little bit got that thrash thing going on, which is not my thing. Newstead did have that haircut. That's why I remember it from that Freddie Mercury tribute concert. Not that I saw it live in '91. It was my pal had the DVD or the video. I think it was a VHS tape actually from my charity shop. Because the VHS tape, there must have been copyright problems with some of the stuff on it because it came out on DVD and we bought it and only half of it was there. But it's got the most amazing version of I Want It All on it. So it comes out and it's like it starts off as Pinball Wizard. When was the last time? I don't even. Kind of starts off like that, and it goes up here. On stage, Roger Daltrey, and Daltrey comes out, swinging the mic, doing the Pinball Wizard, and it's up here. Yeah, and it's up here. And then we've got it. That's it. It starts doing the. He's up here, my friend Tony Iommi. So you get Daltrey, who's just had his wee pinball intro. Iommi comes out, plays Heaven and the riff to Heaven and Hell, and then it goes. I want it all, and it's a fucking banging version of I Want It All. But you got to get the intro with Daltrey coming out. So Daltrey sounding fucking great. He opens with Comfortably Numb. Roger opens with Comfortably Numb with no guitar solo. Wow. I do have to say that I did find it quite emotional when they did that Live 8 thing and you saw them playing Comfortably Numb and it was actually them doing it. It was very different from the version. Mind you, I'm sure that when he did, what was the tour I saw? In the Flesh, it was called. And I think before the tour, he'd done like 2 nights in Wembley Arena or the Albert Hall or something like that to do a DVD sort of thing. And then because the DVD sold okay, he did a tour the following year or something like that. Right? He did the DVD 6 months before the actual tour happened so that he could sell the DVD on the tour or whatever. And one of the nights it was Dave Gilmour on the top of the wall playing it. It was Snowy White when I saw him, but who's still a bona fide member of Pink Floyd. I still want to see the original Wall film. They've totally got it. They must have it. The Wall. So I remember when it came out. What was it? Is there anybody out there? It was like a long, tall CD set, and it was like the original poster. The original thing I saw in a magazine was like, "Is there anybody out there coming out? The Wall live on CD, soon on DVD." And I thought, wow, watching The Wall from 1980 or whatever, it would be fantastic. And they've just never released it. I'm 100% sure they've got it. They've got the audio because they did the CD. But that must be mental because it's like, the front of it's like these rubber masks. So what actually happened was at the start of the gig, it was the other band wearing like rubber. The bass player, I don't know who it was like wearing a rubber Roger Waters face imprint on his face, and Snowy White was wearing Dave Gilmour's face on. So they would be out there playing the first song in the flesh, I assume, as Pink Floyd, so no one would know. And then so you'd be watching Pink Floyd play, and then Pink Floyd would come on, and you'd be like, "Oh, there's Pink. Who's that?" It must have been mental. And also the physical Wall. I know now they can do the Wall using, like sort of computer graphics and stuff and screens. But then it was literally just they built a wall with fucking big styrofoam blocks the size of this room. Mental. Is it because it weren't £1? What wasn't £1? Sorry, I'm a wee bit behind. You used to make parts for submarines. Had to sign your name in case they failed. That doesn't sound like a joke, really. Something that made it back to something. Yeah, so you any of your signatures on the Titanic? See, to be honest, even the first time I saw anything about that, it was sitting there and it was like, the first thing I saw was just like a headline. It's like, problems with the submarine Titanic. And I was like, the fucking stupid bastard called their submarine the Titanic. My God, that's like a Douglas Adams thing. He did the spaceship Titanic, and it's like obviously it crashed. It didn't even start. It's like, if you're going to make a big, massive, if you're going to do some sort of project, don't name it the Titanic, for fuck's sake. I didn't realize it was because they were going to the Titanic. I just heard it was the submarine Titanic. I was like, they made a submarine. Okay, fair enough. And they called it the Titanic. You fucking idiot, really? But I don't know. It's just like, it's one of those things that they made a lot. They cut a lot of corners and shit like that. It's just rich folk. That's how they got it funded, though. It's like, how do you fund it? Do you get, like for research reasons, or do you just fucking do it and then charge millionaires like, is it £250,000 to go down and that'll pay for it, sort of thing? Seems a bit strange. The thing about, I suppose, the thing you're saying about the signing parts for a submarine, it's like, yeah, okay, so you would get into shit. What would they sue you? I don't know. I suppose it's just telling you make sure the tolerances are right. I don't know. It sounds scary. I don't know if anyone ever seen. I need to watch it again. Das Boot, both versions, but I saw the original one. It's like German and black and white. It's fucking terrifying. It's like I'm not. I wouldn't say I was claustrophobic, but there is a point where I think anyone would get claustrophobic. It's like a lot of people, struggle just being in a confined space really at all, going into a cupboard. Oh, it's like, yeah, I can kind of handle a cupboard, but I mean, it's like being in a coffin and then buried. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's claustrophobia. That's terror about being buried, and it'd be the same. There must be a certain element of that in the submarine. We were not meant to that deep. Have you seen the mad creatures that lived in there? Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you can sort of imagine it. Some of them are fucking terrifying. Anglerfish. What's that? So, anglerfish. I kind of assumed anglerfish were kind of, yeah. But I think you get ones that and the squid. I was watching a thing probably about in the last year or something like that. One of the first sightings of a giant squid, and the terror in it is seeing it kind of coming out the murk, and the thing was fucking the diameter of this room, like you couldn't see all of it, but it was like, meters in girth, bigger than a car kind of thing, on its end. Terrifying things. But I can sort of see the point in doing it for scientific reasons. It's like, why did you go to the moon? Was it what? Because it's hard. No one's ever done it before. So it's, yeah, I get that. But I kind of get that with the Titanic as well. Obviously, I've read the book, Raise the Titanic, with Clive Cussler, and I've seen the film, which is not as good as the book, but still a good film. You should watch that. Better than actual Titanic. If you found the Titanic and nobody had ever been there, I can sort of see the point in going. But I mean, James Cameron went there. I've seen the videos, so they've been there. You want to go again? Not really. I mean, I would love to go on a wee submarine round a wreck or something like that. That'd be cool fun. But it wouldn't need to be however many hundreds of feet underwater when it's dangerous. It's like, I mean, I've been, I did actually do some diving training, but I never actually went diving. I used to do it at the swimming pool when I was like 14 or something like that. So I knew how the regulator worked and all that shit. And I know that as long as you don't go down more than 6 meters, you're fine. It doesn't really matter. It's only when you go down below that you're kind of trapped because you'll get decompression sickness. So if you go down 20 meters on your way back up again, nitrogen goes in your blood. So you have to, on your way back up, you have to stop at 10 meters for 5 minutes to let your nitrogen levels calm, and then that kind of thing. So even if you're down 50 meters, I think is that the maximum, 30, whatever it is, on your way back up, you have to take half an hour because you have to come up, wait for 5 minutes at 40 meters, wait for 5 minutes at 30 meters to get your nitrogen. So you are still kind of trapped and you'll drown. Whereas if you're at 6 meters, it's fine. You can just dump all your tanks and swim up again. You'll be fine. You won't die. So I'm quite happy diving at that sort of depths where basically you can just let go of everything and float to the surface and you're fine because you're not trapped. Saying that, I've never actually been diving, but probably shouldn't admit this, but my dad used to have a diving license from many when he was my age, when he was 20 or something like that, and we had to get his mooring, which was in, I don't know, 4 meters of water, something like that, and we had to go down and change his mooring chain. So Dad just hired tanks using his 40-year-old paper thing, and the guy's like, right, what is it you're doing? Is that you go diving? Is that up here? I'm like, we're moving a mooring, so he let us away. So actually, I did get a wee chance to go diving down at 6 meters or something, which is a bit scary. And basically, once I'd managed to fix I had to fix. My dry suit didn't have feet. Dad's dry suit did have feet because there were water skiing ones. So when we swam down, Dad was pointing down the way, and the air expands when you go down, even when you go down a couple of meters, and the air in his feet. So basically, his feet swelled up a bit like balloons. So he was having to pull himself down the mooring chain while I was floating there. He's kind of sitting there like that with massive feet, trying to hold himself down. He was like pointing at things. So he gave me the pliers. And I had the wire. He's like, up here, that there. I was like, right. So I did the mooring thing, and then we came up. And then after that, I just went out on my own with a tank and just swam about, but only in the depth of this room, 2 meters of water or something. Like obviously lying on the bottom, so it was like going through the seaweed, which was like waist height. It was fucking amazing. There's a telecaster down there, so I said, Hey Bjorn Biff, you're back again. Yes, we are talking Titanic. I don't know, how did we get onto it? I was saying it was a stupid name to name a submarine because you're just asking for problems. At least it's not Scalextrics. Yeah, actually, I think I might. I'm not going to put any Scalextric videos up on here. I don't want to scare people away. It is fun and it's good, but I think I might. Actually, if I worked out how hard it was to set up a second channel. I thought about doing it before. For anything I was doing, it was try and make this a bit more. I think I would get more subs if I wasn't quite so off the wall and stupid. This shouldn't really be on the Marco channel. It's like I get decent views if I put out like a sensible, but within reason, sensible thing for me. So I think from a purely business point of view, I should maybe have a few channels going. It's not like I make any money off the things anyway. I keep looking at it. It's like, okay, I've got like 1.5 million views or something like that. Yeah, it's sitting there happy. How's that? What's that calculated? It's like £40 a month. Jez, I make more money from lovely Jez, which I still haven't bought another guitar. I will find one. I'm totally on the hunt. I keep seeing things, but I've not found something interesting. I don't want something that's just a goodbye. It's like, I want something that's actually cool, that I find I get inspiration from, and I find it exciting, and it's a bit different. Something that I wouldn't generally buy myself, which I will find. It'll be very obvious when I find it. I'll be like, that's for me. That's a bit kind of, I've got that kind of weird attitude towards a lot of things that it's meant to be. Kit Kat, you're obviously not a proper Skeletrix fan. It's the same as I was talking to Mr. White the other day. And he's like, up here, yes, he said he'd bought a Gretsch. And it's like, I knew he'd obviously looked it up and stuff like that because he knew how to spell it. Because if you've never owned a Gretsch, you've probably never looked it up and gone, it's GRETSCH. The fucking what? And it's the same with Skeletrix because I always thought it was Skeletrix because it sounds totally perfect, but it's not. It's Scalex trick. So there you go. That's how you can tell someone who's with it, man. Or someone who used to have it as a kid. Oh, fuck. Yes, I mean, I need to. We're talking about the point and going to the Titanic. I know. You do get Titanic hunters, though. I've seen a program on it before that people get pure obsessed by it. You know, the lore and everything. It's far more exciting than it should be. Hey, Joachim! Old Hagscream Guitars country, the Vodka Belt, Iceland, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Russia, Baltic countries. Is that the Vodka Belt? I've never heard of the Vodka Belt before, but yeah, totally. I can see that. The Bucky Belt. I think the Bucky Belt's just like the Bucky Belt's also the central belt of Scotland. Although I think Bucky's popular all over Scotland. Skeletrix, yes, good, nice one, Bjorn. I like it. Asterix is something I've not seen for ages. And I remember trying to watch the cartoon. It was terrible because their accents were awful. I don't know what kind of accents they had, but I remember the books. I remember it was like kind of a way of getting out of having to read books. I was a kid. People, I'm showing the age here. Used to go to the library and get library books out. And it was like I would always get the Asterix books out because they were fucking great. Asterix the Gaul and Asterix the Goths. And when we were talking to the Goths, the speech bubbles for the Goths was all, and you know, the Black Sabbath Gothic writing. It was like that. So it was like they would be talking in normal text times Roman or whatever, and then the Goths would be talking in Gothic script, which I always thought was really cool. Getafix, yes. There's a few of them that are really fun. There's ones that you wouldn't. Geriatrics, the old guy. Yeah. What else is a freaking? There's brilliant ones. Digital control currency with limits. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Is there not a film with Gerard Depardieu as Obelix? Asterix. I'm sure it's funny. What's the fish seller's name? It's funny as well. I need to read one again since I was 10, but I remember thinking some of these names are really funny. I remember there's an Egyptian called Tennis Net. I don't get that one. But I think there's probably a lot of jokes I just didn't quite get. A live action movie. I've never seen it. I take it it's probably not that good. Used to take Magic Potion. What was the druid called? I need to look it up. I bet it's an awful lot funny. I'm sure the fishmongers was like pure isn't freshish or something like that. It was like pure stinky fish or I don't know. It was kind of strange the way they would do it in the library. So I mean, comic books. I was never into comics. I never get them. I've actually got the Baby Metal comic book. My pal Alan gave it to me for Christmas a couple of years ago. I don't know how to read them. Like, you know, a lot of folk are into, you know, was it 2000? Is it 2000 AD? Is that what's the one that's like Games Workshop? Warhammer 40k 2000 AD comics. I kind of can't. It's very difficult to read that with the speech bubbles, and I can understand comics. I could read Asterix. I could read the Beano, stuff like that. But when you actual proper sort of arty comics, I find them very difficult to follow and not really knowing what's going on, and just find it really confusing and having to kind of look at the picture and read the thing and go, "What the fuck is going on?" And then the next, unhygienics. Yes, it was unhygienics. I'm sure there was a sexy girl who had something funny as well. Getafix or Panoramics. There was a Panoramics, yes. Getafix sounds like it could have been the druid. Unhygienic, so. The dog had a funny name as well. Yeah, I don't know. Someone's just going to Google it. I knew some lads who made parts for the Piper Alpha Org also signed their names to the parts and they blew up those guys who were under investigation. Wow. Fuck's sake. I mean, terrifying. It's one of those things. One of the reasons I don't have any issues working on a guitar, it's like, oh, I've wired your guitar and it broke. Right? Vital statistics. I hope you're not Googling this. Yes, you're right. It was vital statistics. See, the thing is, I knew the last time I read Asterix, I was probably 10. And some of these I thought were really funny because I knew what it meant. And other ones, I think, were a little bit more. You had to be a bit older to understand what they actually meant. Aye, cheers, Jess. Hit the likes. Aye, 16 likes would be nice. I don't know. It's like, but as I was saying about the guitars, it's like the reason I don't have a problem working on guitars as opposed to doing my breaks or something like that. You know, it's like if your guitar fails on stage or anywhere, oh no, my guitar's failed. You're not doing 70 mile an hour on the motorway when it fails, and what it failed is you don't have any brakes anymore, or the wheels come off, or something like that. It's like, you know, that's your thing. Like, you know, you're talking about building a submarine and an oil rig. It's like there's death involved if it goes wrong. Whereas even if you're, you know, freaking Dave Gilmore or something like that, and his guitar breaks, oh, it's a disaster. You just have a spare guitar. It's not, you're not, you know, in a tree on fire. You know, it's like, oh. I remember the English name because I did Google it many years ago. Yeah, I suppose those names probably wouldn't work in other languages. I wonder if that was only the English thing. I mean, in other languages, are there? I'm just saying, because your name's Bjorn, I'm assuming you're Swedish or something like that. They all have different names. Do they all have funny names? I take it that are a similar sort of thing. I mean, I suppose Asterix. I never even considered Asterix as well. Okay, right. How many times have I said Asterix and read the books and never really realised his name was actually an Asterix, which is a thingy? Yeah. Oh. Ex-husband was the one who took the distress call from the oil rig. I remember it being in the news, but I don't really know what happened. It went on fire and people died, I assume. I just remember it being on the news. Same with like the Zeebrugge ferry and stuff like that. Back when I assumed the news was true, which it probably was for some things that weren't political. But yeah, no, that does sound a terrifying thing. I know it's one of those things that you have to do it. I mean, I suppose the thing is, like, if you're like an astronaut or something going into space, obviously you just got to accept the fact that you're going into space. You might die. It's a super, super unhostile place to be, you know. But I would probably still do it just to do it. Obelisk. Obelisk is like the big thing. Do you not he used to carry obelisks about? Do you not used to carry him behind his back like big fucking stone things because he didn't need to take the special potion because he fell in a vat of it when he was a baby or something. Therefore, constantly had the superpowers. Yes, I kind of remember all these things. What is the cover on the acoustic behind you? It's not a cover. It's another one of these. It's like they're revolving. This being number one. It's a J-Pack, sir. I would have been playing it. Basically, I've got it. I fitted a pickup to it, but it's something else. I think it needs something on the headstock here, like a badge, even just a J or something. It just kind of looks. It needs something. Maybe it needs black tuners. So I fitted a strap pickup and a couple of volume and a tone earlier on today. That was fun. Try to work out where to put it, and it's like I went for. See if you look at it in a straight line. Look, it's like pure pickup. The line of chi goes pickup, volume, tone, output jack in a straight line. But to be totally honest, see when I had my hand inside it, feeling about. You must have done this, Mr. White, with your one. Feeling a bit in below, trying to get a bit because there's bracing that kind of does this. So there's only some bits where you can actually put it without. You don't want to be chopping into the into the bracings. That's a structural issue. I'm not sure how it's going to sound with paint on it because is it going to make it sound pure dead and stuff? Kind of sounds all right. Sorry, people didn't make it off that rig. I don't know. I know it's bad. Asterix, we're talking poster prior, pre, not the 9 o'clock news, and the young ones now. Probably pre. Like, no, I don't know. See, I used to watch the 9 o'clock news when I was a kid. I probably didn't understand most of the jokes, but some of them were still funny. Like I always remember the one where it was Ron Atkinson, and he's like dressed as a punk. He's wearing like a leather suit with tons of zips on it, and it's like something. He goes into the urinal, and he's like trying to find his fly, and that kind of thing spans all the generations and is always funny. And there's obviously other ones about. I don't know if we're talking about the apocalypse. Remember, it's like, people are. Everyone's on the TV worrying about this apocalypse that's coming in 2 weeks, but I think we're missing the real important thing is the fact that because of the Tory government, how many people are going to go into the apocalypse unemployed? That kind of thing, which I didn't really get. Because it looks like Gustav Klimt. I don't know who Gustav Klimt is. Should be someone. Hey Tom. Yeah, just start down. I'll get some vodka there if you want some. I'll get some vodka that's seen Metallica. You could play brushy one string numbers on that bad boy. It's fucking tempting. Brushy one string is fucking bushy. Is it brushy or bushy? Is awesome. It's just a little bit disappointing when you see the second and third song, but when you watch the first song, it's fucking brilliant. It's when you get to the second and the third song and you go, oh, there's like one riff that you can really play like the drums and the riff on just using one string. It's a pure killer riff, but it's kind of the riff that all the songs are. It's like they're all kind of the same bit because there really only is one key you can play in and one bit that you can do. But I mean, yes, no, he's fucking hilarious. Not the o'clock news, but another Aria Pro last week. Did not buy one in 3 weeks. What model did you buy, Tom? I've seen the shifts burning from the coast of Orion. I ain't lying. I don't know what that is. That sounds like something from that Can says. It's like I'll chase you around the moons of Nimbar and the Moxus galaxy, and I've seen ships burning on the coast of Orion till I'll have my revenge. I spit thy last breath at thee. That kind of bit from Arthur Can is what that sounds like. Chicken in the corn, yes. That one. It's great though. I mean, fantastic. Love it. I thought you'd agreed that the knob should be on the top, not on the front of an acoustic. I did. Alex, I totally did. Scott and Jen didn't know. So I put them on the front. I wanted to put them on the top. I'll put them on the top. He's like, no, I'll put them on the front so you can see them. And it's like, it's an aesthetic thing. And it's like, we say, is paint the tone killer? I don't know. I mean, I keep noticing, I can't help but see the wee red bass. Seems very heavy. Was it always really heavy? I don't know. What I'd really like to do is I want to give a guitar to Jen and then get it back and weigh it and see how much there's in it. Because obviously a can of spray paint weighs a fair bit. And then when it's empty, it doesn't weigh anything. So how much of that is the weight of the paint? No, a tin of paint weighs a lot. So I don't know. Is it? Does it weigh a lot? I don't know. Aria SL 1998. Oh, cool. A super strat then. I am sure. Cool. Pointy head. Kind of Jackson-y type thing. No, it's Blade Runner. What's Blade Runner? $1988. Okay. So knobs look cool on the front. I think so. I didn't do you. I was considering putting the output jack in the front. The thing is, you've got to consider with these things. Like, see what an absolute pig it is to get your hand in the acoustic sound hole to try and get at the back of these. So the reason they are kind of where they are is partly to do with where the bracing is. Partly to do with where the bracing is, and partly to do with how far I can get my hand in there. See, that's what I think is acceptable child labour. I remember trying to get someone to use child labour before, and I was like, what are they trying to wire? We're trying to fix the jack socket on the end. It's like, up here, you get kids. It's like, up here, yeah, I've got like a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I was like, right, employ those little bastards, get their wee hands in there to hold the back of the thing so you can do it. Which, okay, I'm not like I'm saying that child labour is a good thing, but that's not really child labour if you get your kid to help you do that. That's fair use. I don't think that counts as abuse. I don't know if I would want to stand up in court defending that situation, but I mean, for me, morally, I think that's fine. Obviously, it's different if you're sending them down a mine or up a chimney or something like that. But yeah, stick their hand inside the guitar, go for it. Oh. Mark, I know you don't like football, but can you tell me why all the England games are on TV, but none of the Scotland games? It's because England own the BBC, and it's nothing to do with us. They don't want us to see it. I don't know. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. The BBC is the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's got no Scotland's got no place in it. Who's Roy Batty? Don't know. Toad paint. Hey Kenneth, hope you didn't remove the dust. Dust bunny. That's where the tone lies. What's the dust bunny? There's lots of things I don't know about. Maybe I'm just not. I just want to watch Tommy Cooper. Doctor, it hurts when I do this. Don't do it then. Hiding all the shit hiding inside the acoustic. I've not been inside it. I do generally give them a wee bit of a shake. I did sell. What was the guitar I sold? No, I sold a guitar to one of Blacktooth Fox's pals, and I was very much was happy when I got it. I was happy. Oh, there's something in this, and it was a Yamaha, and it had like a wee bit of cardboard that size in the shape of a guitar body that said with a sound hole painted on it that said solid top on it. So I took it out, and then when I sold the guitar to the thing, I put it back in there, so it's up here, shake it, go up here. Oh, it's a solid top. That's where it should stay. That's what it's meant to be inside it. Tone paint adds to the weight, can cause spinal injuries. Possibly. I don't know. Is weight a bad thing? Weight, sometimes weight's meant to be a good thing. Weight, tone, mass. It's like, does it sound different? One of the reasons a Les Paul sounds like what it does is because it weighs so much. I don't know. I used to fit house lamps in the 70s. Used to send my wee brother under the floor with wires. He was 9, paid him in sweatshirts. Yeah. I don't know. As long as you don't you weren't. I assume he was relatively happy to do it. That's the kind of thing. It's like if it was pure hazardous to his health, which I suppose it probably kind of was. But there you go. Big wire wool bunny. I've never heard of the wool bunny before. It's like belly button fluff in it. I had one. I failed. It was an Ovation type acoustic that I got in, and it had mud in it, like actual mud. But I was like looking at it, the neck was like this, and it was all sunk at the top, and then I was kind of like sitting there. I was like, up here, would that neck even pull back? And the whole top came off the plastic bit at the back, so I just gave up on it. If anyone wants that as a thing to smash up someone's head or to nail to a tree or something, you can have it. I don't know. I've still not thrown it out, even though what's the point in having it? None. Hey, probably you've got a black stripe with factory paint. How hard would it be to strip the paint off? It can be an absolute bastard, to be honest. I would always go for it's not a good idea to strip the paint off your guitar. I don't. I'd actually, I was a wee bit naughty with I got a Washburn Raven that I bought that had been stripped down and really badly painted. So I sanded it down and it sat there for a year or something like that. And then when Jen started doing these mad painted guitars, I gave her the Washburn Raven because it's only because she had to paint it like fuck. She was really annoyed about it. She wasn't angry with me, but she's like, I'd fucking paint that hundreds because the wood kept sucking the paint in. And yeah. So basically, my advice is if you're going to paint it, which I think is a good idea, I would just paint over the poly, like key it and then paint over the top. Don't be stripping back to wood. It must be possible to get a decent finish, but I've never managed to do anything like that. Jez can do it. I wouldn't strip it back to the bare wood. Just buy another one, sell the body and buy a bare wood body. Why only add strings to electric? When will we see a 2-string electric guitar? There's a Schecter 5-string electric guitar they made in the 80s for like doing the Keith Richards Open G tuning, which is quite mad because obviously the neck's just they've made the neck one string less thick that way, less wide, not thick. But yeah, I mean, I've seen 2-string basses before. Because I mean, let's be honest, you kind of don't need. Well, you probably get away with a bass with 1 string, really, depending on what you're playing. I mean, in that blues band, I could have got away with 2 strings, pretty sure. It was really anything I could play there. It might be a little bit more challenging to play it, but I think pretty much everything I was playing, I could have played in 2 strings, possibly in 1 string. I just want the bare wood look. Oh, I don't know. The problem with the bare wood look is the bare wood look, when it's done properly, looks really good, but see when it's done shit, it just looks shit. Mind you, I've got a couple of bare wood ones there, but that's actual proper bare wood. That's never had. It's actually got some sort of sealant on it. What's it got on it? Is it worktop oil, or it's not varnish? Some sort of not stain, preservative on it, but nothing else. I don't know. But yeah, it's like, but there you go. X-Paps, I totally agree. I wouldn't worry about taking it off, scuff it with Scotch Brite, then repaint it. Yeah. In that case, it would be better to buy a raw body. Elements of that as well, yeah. It's more, but he's kind of just get one that's finished. I don't know. I mean, guys don't know how to do it. It's like lots of coats and practice and sanding between coats and all that stuff. That's what people do ask me sometimes. To these things. Hey, Alex, Gordon, how's it going? Nobody's bought my Bearwood Roadster yet. Yeah, but that's a well done one though. That doesn't look like someone's done it themselves. Someone has done it themselves, because that wasn't a very available color, but it doesn't look that way. Whoever it was did that spent a bit of time making it look like it should be like that. It's a shame. I don't know. I mean, Gordon, have you had that for sale constantly for ages? Because basically what I do with guitars, if you put it up and nobody's bought it within 2 or 3 weeks, pull it and then put it on a few weeks later again with maybe even different photos, so it doesn't look like the same one. You're going to get someone who gets there. I've got an Area Pro Cardinal with a walnut. Love the look of it. Once you do replicate, it seems. Oh, you do like it? I know that's like a thin finish on them. I think the Cardinal Series 1 is basically. I don't really know why they were both at the same time. My Thor one is very much. It's a slightly different shape. It's maybe a little bit. I always class the Thor as if you imagine like a Strat shape, but they've contoured it like an SG, is what that looks like. Whereas the Cardinal looks very much like this Yoshi. I think it's not exactly the same, but it's a similar sort of stuff sitting on top of it. It's a slightly different. It's more or less poly than Stratty, whereas the Thor's more Stratty kind of thing shape wise. For a novice like yourself, how can you tell when a guitar is a solid top? I mean, you can kind of look in the edge of the sound hole, and you can sometimes see the grain going round it. If you look kind of in the sound hole. And the other thing you look for is if it's a Yamaha, look for S at the end of the title. Or a lot of guitars. I mean, I've got like a couple of Washburns, a D30S, and my Yamaha's a FG720 12S. It's a solid top. It's good. Tom, no, sorry, I've not been wet. I was away at download. It took me a week to recover. To be honest, I think I got COVID. A slightly different variant of it. I was too fucked to actually get to work out, try to find out where my testing kits are. I think I've got a variation of that, like an English variation. There seems to be a long-lasting thing. It's like for a week I was kind of just not feeling great, tired, sleeping a lot. Obviously, I did spend like nearly a week drinking, and then the cough came and it just wouldn't go away, and it got really worse, and I'm still kind of fucked from it. Just not recovering, which is making me think, a normal cold you recover from. Either that or I'm just weakened by excessive drinking for a few days. Very bad. Yellow Telecaster. Oh, I like a yellow Telecaster. Yes. Yeah, you go for it. It's a great guitar. There's a video of it online by me. I hope you put the video in there. the Roadster. I mean, that's the thing. It's just sitting there going, it's like, who was it? But I'm not going to argue that possibly it'd be easier to sell the Mexican Fender Strat. Is the Mexican Fender Strat as good as the Roadster? No. It's worth. It might be worth more money, and it's more authentic looking. You know, I'm all for the snobbery as well. I intentionally put like an expensive guitar on this body. This body's not I don't even know what kind of guitar it was. It didn't have anything on the headstock. It's not plywood, which whether it actually makes a difference or not, you still want to go, oh, it's not plywood, so it must be good. I don't know if does wood tone would make any difference. We just don't know. Cardinal's the best neck I've ever played. Paid a lot for it, but well worth it. Pickups sound great too. Yeah, you're not. I mean, I think the only problem you get with the areas of that age is some of the cheapest in the line didn't have the Gotoh tuners, and sometimes, like Alex's one, the bridge isn't the best design. But I mean, these things it's easy. I mean, my Thor one has different saddles put on it. I think it's probably the same original bridge, but the bridge I would suggest, mind you, if you want to keep it original, I suppose, but you get the one that's on the, I can. You can pick up these really cheap and don't even expect this is not intonated, obviously, if you look at it. These bridges used to be really cheap, and I still think they're quite cheap. They're kind of like a sort of badass design, those ones. Obviously, that's not intonated. Why it's like that, I can't tell you. But those bridges are quite good, and they're not expensive. They used to be like £6. I think you can now get them for less than a tenner, though. And it's whether you just stick that on it. Actually, the problem with them is that you have to, they're only backloading, so you'd have to drill holes and put ferrules in. So maybe that's not the way to go. There's a way around it. Hey Tom, is that the only Matsumoto built guitar you've got? Because I think what you'll find is they're all very similar, even though it might not necessarily have the same carve. You know, so I've got quite a few, like the Thor sound's got a really weird neck. I wonder if it's the same as the Thor sound. It's really, how would you describe it? It's kind of going in the Jackson way, a bit like an Ibanez Wizard neck, but thicker. It's kind of square feeling. Does that make sense? Like a D, would you call it? So it's like, as opposed to being C-shaped, it's kind of got shoulders, so it's kind of square feeling. It feels quite wide here. Instead of curving immediately, it kind of comes back first and then starts curving. I do rate the Thor sound is fantastic, and I think it's got that same finish you're talking about, the sort of thin, varnishy sort of one of the first ever relic guitars, because they did look like that new. Obviously not as relics as they do when you see it when 40 years old. Yeah, I did the English Bastard version of Coven or something. All that tone stuff, all that makes a difference when you're playing clean. Yeah, I'm not even sure. Again, it's like, what? I do agree that there is an element of it. The guitar can sound different. So if I'm hitting a chord here, see what you're hearing there, the amp's not doing anything. That sound is the acoustic guitar qualities. But once, if I just, instead of recording it with that mic, I just recorded the line output from the amp. How similar are those two things? I don't know, because it's maybe different. If you're playing at volume with a drum kit, you don't actually hear the strings from here, whereas I'm playing here, you know, I'm hearing the sound coming from there. Even at any volume you're playing in the house, it's there, and you can feel it vibrating and all that shit. You have 4 Matsumoto guitars, good stuff. Yeah, you tell me what the 4 of them are then. The next question. Hey Ruben, how's it going? To everybody, what's the best guitar you've ever played? I like it. My wife is taking drum lessons. Now I got a drum kit. Want to do a Christmas due? I want a free. I want a wife. Yeah, I'll take a wife. Could she cook? She's not a vegan, is she? Because I mean, I always swapped a guitar for Mr. White's sister-in-law, but Mr. White's wife's sister. But she's a vegan. Not worth a roadster. You know what I mean, maybe I'll give him a square strap for it, but not you get a roadster for a vegan. The Christmas song sounds terrible. I mean, Paul Gilbert. Not many things Paul Gilbert does I don't really get, and I didn't. The Christmas thing was terrible. I actually saw a thing. There's an interview relatively recently. I think it was last week. He's talking about shit, and it's a really good interview. Is it with Streetwater or something? Because Paul Gilbert's lovely. He's great. You don't need to like his music. I don't know there's really anything not to like, but he's an entertaining chap. He's funny, and everything he plays on the guitar is funny. And it was like when he was playing, it was at Christmas. Someone was he was around with his family, and one of his nephews or something was like, "Oh, can you play Jingle Bells?" Hold on, why can I not just play this immediately? What the fuck? And all the songs, it's like, because fucking Paul Gilbert played every single Beatles song, I didn't know how to play that, so you learn how to do them, and then did an album, and it sounded awful. In 1985, Japan, Aria Pro Iron Man. Wow. No, 1985, yes. I thought you said, I think I said 1984, 1985, yeah. So that's 1985 is the year where they brought out a whole new ranges of guitars, but they were kind of made up of guitars that they already made the previous year, but they painted them black and maybe put like mine. I've got the Blade Runner, which is basically just an Aria ZZ or ZZ, but it's got a Caller on it and it's got blade pickups, so it's called the Blade Runner. There's also is it the Esprit the RS shape? There's one called a Night Warrior, and you've got the Iron Man. Whereas I think you probably find in 1984 they had the Randy Rhoads one called something else that probably wasn't quite as evil looking, but they had a great idea of, and those the Aria lasers as well are kind of using the body of one model and the neck of another when you paint it black and you give it a cool name, laser, from that era. But I bet it's good. I just don't like I don't like the offset Flying V for some reason. The shapes I just thought always looked shit. I played it, I don't really like it. The best guitar I've ever played, your Antoria Les Paul Gold Top. Nice, that's nice, yes. Washburn Maverick. Nice. There's ZZ Top and an RS. Yeah, not a bad little collection there, to be honest. That man's a tiny body. Yeah, that kind of happens. I suppose so, yeah. But it'll feel really small when you're playing it, because Explorers kind of feel that way, because like Flying V's are a bit different because you got this big bit here, and it's the same with the Explorer. When you're playing an Explorer, it feels really weird that the neck's very long because this bit's not here. So it's like the neck's pure long, but it's not really. It's just because the strap button's here instead of here, so it feels dead long. But because you've got this bit here, it kind of compensates for it. The Randy Rhoads doesn't really have that. Or kind of, yeah, aye. Oh, having a problem with your nut. Can't play it sitting down. You've got to play it classical guitar style. You sit it between your legs. Yeah, it's a V. I got myself a V. You need to get yourself a 78 Ibanez Musician. I bet you that is pretty freaking nice. Yes, an ABBA guitar. An 80s Aria Cardinal, nice, and an 83 West Tone bass. That's not a bad little collection. The Matsumoku stuff is the thing that you'll kind of know with these things is they're all great. I beat up 78 Les Paul with mini humbuckers. It was perfect. Wow. Keep it on track. The best guitar I've ever played. I think, to be honest, it's disgusting. I mean, this is not by any means anything like the most expensive guitar I've ever bought. I've got the deluxe version, but this one, there's something about the basic one, like it's like the Les Paul Junior idea where there's no extra shite on it that just makes it look better. It's all functional. This is probably the best guitar I've ever played. Like objectively, it's not worth any money. Well, a couple £100, but no. It's a funny one. I did play a Taylor acoustic once. It was a 12 string, but it only had 6 strings on it. was like, I need a shot of that. Oh, this is something else. I think acoustics are a bit different that way. Electric guitars less so. Kit Kats, I did just say the Roadstar. I think so. Well, the Shocking Bird. Because a good thing about the Shocking Bird is you can believe me or not believe me, because nobody's ever played that apart from that one. And anyone I've had get a shot of it, even like Scott, people who know what they're talking about, is going, yeah, totally, I pure get it. It's like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like, yeah, because it is. There's so little to it. Like the less parts you have, the less there is to make it shit. Do you know what I mean? So if you basically just start with a bit of tree, that's as good as it gets. The more things you put on it, the less good it gets. There's just at some point it becomes a guitar. Again, I think there's an element of that. It's not. I mean, the Roadstar's not the guitar that if it was a fire, it would be the one I would grab. If I could only keep one, it wouldn't be that, because I'd be able to get another one. It doesn't have any real rarity to it, really. I think if you were willing to spend, if money was no object, you could probably buy that exact guitar tomorrow. It's just when I say money is no object, if you were looking at, and what you're willing to spend 400 quid on it or 500 quid on one, you would just find you'd be able to buy one, no problem. If you just put an advert up in fucking Facebook, like on the Ibanez site, go like, I want a Roadstar RG140, I'll give you $500 for it, you would get one. So it's not unobtainium, you know, it's replaceable. Look, my new Area Pro was quite rare, but it seems like you all have one. I don't have one. My pal does have the bass. I suggested he was going to buy a bass. He was like, I'm looking at basses, and it was like, you're looking at, I think he was looking at like 300 quid and guitar and stuff and what you can get. And I was like, and then it was searches. I think you had to drive to Glenrothes to get it. But it's like a turquoise blue Area Pro Cardinal bass, and it's fucking awesome. It's like, well, honestly, buy that, and you'll never need another bass ever, because it's as good a bass as a bass can be, because it is the same as like something like a West Tone Thunder bass. It's like, you can argue there are better basses in the world, but the best bass, it's only that much better than it. You know, it's like, you are talking, it's a P bass, and it's as good as a Fender P bass, pretty much. You might get a couple. Gumtree Down. Like, my best is not the best guitar. It's a Roadstar, Adstar. Yeah, totally. I would say the Roadstar. It's like, I know Gordon's trying to sell his, but his Roadstar's a bit more stratty, like my Blazer, whereas the 85 and 86 RS from 85, 140 or whatever, and the RG from 86, 140, the body's kind of like a sort of compressed, smaller version, and it's a little bit sportier. And it's just different enough from a Strat to not be a Strat copy. I prefer that one. I guess guitar one I haven't found. I don't know. Yes, I'm not willing. But the thing is, it's like, you can judge so much on how good a guitar is going to be and what you expect it to be. You know, there is an awful lot of, you know, I mean, when I first got my Epiphone SG, it was very, very alien feeling to me compared to every other guitar I'd played, because it was so thin. It's like, oh my God, it's so thin and weird, but it was really strange. But because it looked so cool, I was willing to persevere with it. The actual Gibson SG is not as extreme as the Epiphone one I've got is an old 90s one. So the thing is, you got to just get it. It's like, how much of it? There's a hell of a lot to do with look. You know, it's like something like, you know, talking about Peter Green's Les Paul, the one that Kirk Hammett's got. I mean, a lot of that must be to do with what it is, not actually physically what it is. So because it's got all the history on it. I mean, this guitar is obviously miles better than it was when it had the Mexican body, because it looks like this. So this is worth. It's just better. Whether it's actually technically better, it just is better, because look at it. I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since I was actually looking for a guitar that I didn't have that I knew I wanted. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's no, obviously there's still guitars I want, but off the top of my head, I can't really think of what one I'm really after. I would obviously, it's like the price thing. It's like, oh, I'm not buying any more guitars. It's like, do you want to buy You know, would you buy? Oh, it's like you don't want any more guitars, but that's only 20 quid. Oh, you fucking, I'll buy that. You know, so you're never always going to be out. I suppose you got to commit to what kind of guitar it is you want, and I don't know. There's a lot of taste involved in it, as well as the quality thing. But then again, what it looks like. The Flying V's a funny one as well, though, because I mean, I can totally understand why people don't like Flying V's. They're really, really weird when you play them. At first, really, this is whoa, but it looks so cool. Gotta have it. 30 years ago, I roaded and did doors for bands one night. Bass player didn't turn up. I went on stage, unplugged. The guy the audience cut and said, "Give that to me, son." Ends up a brilliant night. Oh, there you go. Went down a Norm's rare guitar rabbit hole, but it wasn't an issue. Sort of, yeah. I mean, I get it. Sort of. But the thing is, you can be, when you watch Joe Bonamassa talk about these things, it is exciting and interesting and stuff. But is it more exciting and interesting than some of the more sort of bizarre, like something like, like, for example, that Tempest? I mean, what is it? It's really good, right? It's freaking every bit a Japanese Stratocaster, same as this, really. Pretty much. But I don't know what it is. It's like you can pick these things up for, almost comedy money, Squire money, and you're getting guitars that nobody knows what they are, and it's exciting and stuff like that. Whereas even if you're looking at Gibsons, the ones that are worth money, everyone knows that, there's only 100 original Flying V's and all that shit. So it's like, yeah, if you've got the money, but I don't know. The only guitar I would like to have now is a resonator. Yeah, I had a resonator for a while, but I mean, I'm not really an acoustic chap. I just didn't really know what to play with it. I think I always thought that the resonator would be good. See if you were in like a band, like an acoustic band, where there was a couple, or you and your pals, like 2 or 3, you sat about with, like a bass and a couple of acoustics sort of thing, or like a 12-string or 6-string. The resonator would work really well in there because you would have a different sound. And I did have a few jams with my pals, and it was like the resonator, the way I was playing it, and the way it sounded, kind of sounded a little bit like a distorted electric. You could play sort of lead on it, and it had a completely different frequency range from the acoustics, which I liked. That was a really nice. I actually sold it to my pal Ronnie. That was the nicest resonator. It was a Shaftesbury one. That was a really nice guitar, but when a guitar that sucks me off. Not one with a built-in tarp, Mr. White. Yeah, I'm sure it can be done. I suppose was that. I wonder if you get the Francis Rossi guitar, which has a hole drilled in it there for putting his lead through. I wonder if it was actually his lead that the hole was there for. I mean, you could do it. I suppose, right? One of those things. Yeah, I could build you that, but see if there's anything wrong with it. I'm not. There's no returns. I'm not working on it. That guitar sold me. Is that do you fancy working on it again? Putting another pickup in it? No, I'm not fucking touching it ever. No, that's yours now. You'd have to sign a disclaimer that you would not be demanding any money back or ever have to return it to me. I think what you got to do, Mr. White Snake, is if you learn to play the guitar like a total god, you don't need the guitar to suck you off. You can just walk into the room and just go, and then there'll just be women all over you. I think it doesn't seem to happen to me, but I mean, I'm sure that I think that happened in the 60s. That was a definite thing. No, Kaz, if you're not subscribed to Mr. Whitesnake's channel, you should. It's quite funny. If you were reincarnated, who would you come back as? It'd have to be someone that wasn't born, though, wouldn't it? I don't know. Is there not somebody? Temptation is like, I don't know. I can't even think of a sexy woman's pants. Lady Gaga's pants had come back as. I don't know. I don't know. Lady Gaga was particularly that pretty, to be honest. Kind of strange thing. I suck at guitars at the same time. I like that. Yes, Ian, very good. Yeah, I can definitely sell you a guitar that sucks. That's easy. Oh. Actually, your Gretsch does look quite interesting there, Mr. White. I wonder how you got on with it. I didn't find it the one you've got. I mean, I know a lot of people pure likes it. It wasn't. It's not really different enough. I don't think it's kind of somewhere in that range. I don't know. Maybe it's just. I think it's one of those things. If you maybe were, it would be enough to tip the scales if I was a massive. Well, I'm kind of a massive George Harrison fan. Can we get to slagging PRS owners? Let's do that. Yeah, totally, no problem. Dentists, you mean? I'll come back as Raquel Welch's bicycle saddle. Yep, that would do. Yep, or a furry bikini. Can you say my guitar that doesn't suck when I play it? It's difficult, isn't it? Some guitars are easy to play though. I mean, it's like it does sound ridiculous, but I mean, you do get sometimes when you must have had it. The wee red bass kind of has that, which is it's hard to nail down exactly what it is, but everything they play on it seems to sound good. You know, it's kind of like actually, to be honest, my Flying V kind of has it as well. There's a point of this is a pickups issue. It's not in a wee bass. There's more to it than that. But the Flying V, it's got an original 70s Gibson Dirty Fingers pickup, which is really unarticulate and unclear sounding. It doesn't have that note separation. You know, if you're wanting to pure go, it can't really do that. But what it does do is it kind of covers up your mistakes. So it's kind of the opposite of the Washburn Falcon, where it's so clear that any mistake you make, it fucking punishes you. So you'd be playing your solo. It's what it sounds like when you hit a wrong note. Whereas on the Gibson, the notes that you're playing right don't sound as good as the Falcon, but the note that sounds wrong doesn't really stick out the same way. So it'd be na 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 na. It's like that. It doesn't take the wrong note and make it louder, so it's a pure obvious mistake. But on the other side, it doesn't have the same dynamic range. So in some ways, it's like, yeah, you can do that. There must be a great way. Told her indoors that I would sell one of my guitars to make space for the latest one, but I can't because I've become too attached to them all. It's difficult, isn't it? Just stack them high. You're not spending a lot of money, remember. And it's like, I suppose there's a point, and it's you're sitting there, Alex, where you've got your Strat, you got your Les Paul, you know, it's like, yeah, you got your SG, and it's like, the Cardinal doesn't really, it's not really a Les Paul or an SG and stuff like that. Whereas if you bought, you know, like a Mexican Fender Strat, then you got to sell the other one. You got to sell, is it a Donner? You got to sell the Donner because you can't have two Strats. But I mean, you can argue the Cardinals. I mean, to be totally honest, the Cardinal can probably do the Strat as good as, if not better. And it's got coil splits on it. If it doesn't, I'll put them in it. As good as any Strat copy can, up till you get to a Japanese Strat. Anything lower than that, the Cardinal can probably Strat better than it. Plus, it's got the Robson thing. Oh, tarpaulin in the snow. Oh, God, yes, I can imagine it. I don't know. I would join a prog band with Mr. White, but he'd have to do the spoken word bits between things with his Texas drawl, sounding like what's his face from the Mandalorian. There's a Falcon Rebirth 600 odd. Doesn't look half as nice as yours. There's different Falcons Kit Kats. I take it it might be a 1983 one, because 1983 to 1985 they were made by a different company, and they're basically built like a Gibson Les Paul. Then, whereas the Yamaki ones are built like, I don't know, an Alembic, something like that. You know, not a normal guitar, pure excessive. I mean, going to argue mostly unnecessary. You don't need an inch thick rosewood cap on a guitar. That's very show offy. Doesn't make any difference to the sound. If it does, it's that much difference. You know, it's excessive, which is something like whether the Cardinal and my Thor and something like that. doesn't come under that because it's not excessive. It's quite efficient with what it's got. It doesn't have binding and I mean, I do like having stuff like that, but sometimes you just want the most basic thing, all the things that only matter. The way I look at it is, if I've not played one of my guitars in a month and I should sell it, I can't. If I did that, I wouldn't have any guitars left. It's very difficult. Just get too many. But yes, it's sensible. Yes. Let's get color split and phase. So it's got more sounds you would ever need. Yeah. It does everything, basically. Yeah. So your telly and your Strat, and your Les Paul, and then your funk sound. Going to basically going to lay a blanket on the ground. Nice. But Blur and Noel Gallagher both just put out decent records. They're late 50s now. Really, they can't be late 50s. Maybe actually. Oh, fuck, probably actually. Fuck. I can sort of believe Blur did it. I can't believe that Noel Gallagher put out something that was decent though. It's just a fundamental thing. I can't believe it. It's like, see if you're making cakes, right? And actually one of your ingredients is actual feces. That's like a Noel Gallagher. It's like one of the ingredients he uses in every song he's got is actual crap. Actual shit is in it. So unless he completely changed, everything he's always done has always had feces in it. I mean, no, Pontiac, I don't think so. I've been told that they're good by many people. Oh, Noel's good. I totally don't agree. It's still got that chewing gum instead of food thing. It's music for people who don't like music, I think. I mean, it's obviously a taste thing. You know what I mean? I like baby metal, so I mean, obviously I don't. There's no you can't judge me on taste. There's things that I like that are a bit quirky and stuff like that. It's just that I can't see it. I do remember hearing, like Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds or whatever it was, and thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be different. The reason Oasis are shit is because of him. Actually, was it Boodly Boo? Whoever it was, I didn't pure hate. They were nothing like as bad. Were miles better than anything Noel Gallagher's ever done. Beetlejuice, BDI, Beetle, whatever they were. If I had a gun, I would shoot Noel. I can't. No, I'm sorry. I can't name 3 High Flying Bird songs. But it's one of those things. It's just memories of it. I do have an irrational hatred of Oasis. I understand. There's folk on here that have who totally can't stand Kiss, which I which I don't really understand because I never really get subjected to them. So it's like, yeah, I'm not a huge Kiss fan. I do quite like some of their songs, but they've never been there enough to piss me off, whereas Oasis totally were, and it pure hurts me just to hear it. I'm in the Liam camp, BDI, yeah, totally. Well, I saw Oasis and it's like the only musician on that stage was Liam. He was only rock star, and that was including the Happy Mondays who supported them. They were fucking awful, but Liam was quite good. I quite like him. I'm not saying he's a great singer, but I quite like the guy. I watched Generation 6 at Glasgow today, man. A lot of great. I forgot Glasgow was on. Apparently, Guns N' Roses went down really well. I don't know what's the band. There's a band. I saw someone. There's two very pretty girls. One of them plays a West Tone Thunder bass, like a pure clean looking one. Oh. It's like just the thing is, it's very rare you got up here. Which Noel do you prefer, Noel Gallagher or Noel Edmonds? And you're like, I'm totally Noel Edmonds. And do you like Noel Edmonds? No. But I would rather listen to Noel Edmonds sing and play a song that he'd written than a Noel Gallagher. But it's irrational hatred. You're allowed that. You're allowed to not like something everyone else likes. It's fine. I don't. I bet you, Pontiac, I bet you can't stand baby metal. I bet you can't even listen to one song without being sick, which is fine. I still want to find somebody, anyone who's ever commented who up here, I quite like baby metal and I like Oasis. I just don't think it's physically possible to like the two things. I just don't think you can. Prove me wrong. Somebody accept it. Just learned that James from James isn't called James. I didn't know that James from James wasn't called James. His name wasn't James. I can't even remember. They runaway train, never going. They did that song. Yeah. I do think that one of the things that kind of put me off, James, was that's a really shit name for a band. Like, you get on the System of a Down list of that's a shit name for a band. You know, I mean, there's plenty of bands like Yes, that's a good name for them. I don't like the band. It's a good name. There's plenty of bands that have good names that actually are shit, but there's also bands that, and here we go. What bands are good that have shit names, and what bands are shit but have great names? Oasis isn't a bad name, I'll be honest. It's like, I'll give them that. It's not too bad. Quite like. Don't really like Black Sabbath, the band. You don't have to like, you get no taste. You can't not like Black Sabbath, fuck's sake. Maybe okay, lots of digital editing. No, I don't think so. It's more it's Japanese. The band can do it live, so they do have it. They do have it. There's some of their newer stuff's a bit sort of techno-y. So yeah, but yeah. But there you go. So I mean, if there you go, point yet, you have proved me wrong. It is possible to quite like both of them. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like you don't have to like. There's not that much digital editing in all the songs. Some of them are a bit, I suppose. They're quite varied. The Doobie Brothers aren't. James is so Britpop a name. I think they were trying to do the Smiths was pretentious, as the Smiths is a terrible name as well. We don't take Kylie to non-Sabbath fans. Yeah. You don't have to like it. It's one of those things that you got up here. I don't really like Black Sabbath. All right, Kill. You'll hear them someday. But I was sitting with a couple of pals last night, drinking. I stuck on Sabotage after listening to All Things Must Pass and Jesus Christ Superstar, which was their selection. I put on Black Sabbath Sabotage and they didn't really say very much. Yeah, the Ramones are not brothers because but they're actually called Joey Ramone and Ronnie Ramone and all that. It's bizarre. Oh, I've got a guitar question. Wow, Tom, well done. Out of phase switch, what does that actually mean? Out of phase, it basically means that you just basically see the two wires that come out the pickup, the start and the finish. You swap them round, so you get it quite often in mostly 80s Japanese strats where there's a phase switch. Blazer has it on the middle pickup, which means that when it's backwards, see when you're on the middle pickup and you flip it backwards, it doesn't make any difference whether it's backwards or forwards because it's just a magnet with a wire wrapped around it. So you're taking the start of the wire and the end of the wire and putting them onto the two bits on your guitar lead. Basically, it doesn't matter which way around it goes. What does make difference when you put it in with another pickup. So if you're in position like 2 where you've got both pickups on and this one's out of phase, instead of backing each other up, because one's reversed, you only hear the sound that neither of the pickups pick up. So the sound that both of them make, it subtracts. You got all your frequencies from the neck pickup, but you turn on the bridge pickup out of phase, it subtracts all the frequencies that they both hear. So you're only left with the sound that both the pickups aren't hearing. So any sound that both the pickups are making gets cancelled out, and you're only left with the difference, sort of thing. I've made that sound much more complicated than it is, but basically all you're doing is swapping the two wires around from the pickup to make it out of phase. It kind of sounds like it's much quieter, but it's basically instead of reinforcing each other, they're fighting against each other. They're subtracting. Instead of adding the two together, you're subtracting one from the other, and what's left over when you subtract the wave that comes out of this and the wave that comes out of that is what you hear when you've got it out of phase. But I mean, it's one of those things that doesn't make sense, but there are situations where it does make sense. I see when you do your sort of funk stuff, you know, I can't do sort of that. When you're doing that really spiky, takes up very little room, kind of like a rhythm thing. It totally works. Or for certain effects, it really works really well. It's a really strange sound. Also, I find that see if you're using like a loop pedal, like I do, see a phase switch, and you can strum it like an acoustic. It kind of has the piezo jangle high frequency thing going on, so you can kind of do a mock acoustic sound with a phase as well, which it doesn't really sound like acoustic when you're playing it, but see when you're doing like a loop pedal or it's in a mix and you do the strummy thing on the phase in the background and then put bass and then solo over the top, it sounds like an acoustic. It's quite good. Oh, prefer Cheery Smith songs. Again, I've only ever seen. I don't. If I would probably hate the Smiths if I knew more about them, if they affected me more, and they just never really did. I don't like them. I've not really heard a song that they done that I liked. I know what's his face? Morrissey's quite a famous arsehole, but I don't really know that much. Yeah, maybe try to work out how to explain phase. Aye, they're fighting against each other. So it's pick up one minus pick up two rather than pick up one plus pick up two. Uh, Simple Minds, defo Scottish. They are, yes. I've actually met one of them, the keyboard player. When the first gig I played with the Blind Doug in Kirky up the road, the guy was a bit of a bit of a snobby. Warned me, he's up here by the way, I'm a bit of an arsehole. Someone telling me this doing the sound. He was in Simple Minds, whoever he was. I don't know. Guy with grey hair and a beard. He was talking about for some reason we were loading up and I had to come back and get my amp and he's like, yeah, I was like playing these gigs with folk turning up with 100-watt amps now. It's like playing a wee pub like this, and it's like, yeah. Oh, you're not fucking Richie Blackmore. If you're playing a wee gig like this, you should have like, a 20-watt amp. So you don't need a 100-watt amp. And it was like, and then obviously 10 minutes later, my 400-watt Marshall arrived like that. Yeah. Originally called Johnny the Self Abusers. That's a bad name. The worst one was I remember there used to be signs when I was at uni, and it was like a the sort of the walking sign for there's a public walkway somewhere, and it was like a guy walking in a triangle, and it was like gay dad with an arrow, and it was like you fucking what are all these things, and it was I remember seeing they didn't do very well, they didn't do anything, and it was like I saw an interview with them. And it was only like a 30 seconds. I mean, why are they called Gay Daddies? Like, because it's just the best name for a band ever. And it's just like, no, it's not the best name for a band ever. No, it's like I don't even know what they sounded like. I can't remember. I think they were kind of like they kind of looked like Cooler Shaker. So I assume they were sort of 90s Brit pop, but a bit rock. I don't know what they sounded like, but that's a terrible name. There's some crazy one. What was it? I was in a band called Fast Buck. And the reason I was in a band called Fast Buck because that was I don't think it was Dire Straits. Who was it? Somebody was in a band called Fast Buck. Was it someone in Thin Lizzy were called Fast Buck? Nothing to do with Buckfast, but we changed the name of the band I was into Fast Buck because of Buckfast. So I thought it was funny. Got my SG called by Jay Turser. Electrified. He got electrified. From the switch just to pots. Something was wrong. One volume blowers both volumes. It does sound like it's wired up wrong, yeah. There's two ways of wiring up an SG. I always remember this because my Epiphone's wired different from a Gibson. Going back to when I had two electric guitars, the Epiphone SG and the Gibson SG. The Epiphone, say you're on the bridge pickup and you've got it at full, right? And you've got the neck pickup at nothing. When you're selected the bridge pickup, it's fine, but when you go into the middle position, it's off. No, the other way around. On the Epiphone, that's not the case. So if you've got the neck at nothing and the bridge at full, and you're in the middle position, the Epiphone still played the bridge pickup. Whereas the Gibson, if you're in the middle and you've got the neck turns it off, so you have to be in bridge position. So there's two different ways of doing it. Free beer, I was supposed to say. I was talking to someone in their band. It was called Special Guests. It's like fair enough. So pure, yes, tonight Black Sabbath with special guests. We did. A good idea. I don't think it's the switch Pontiac. It's like the old way. See, if you look up how to wire, there's two different ways of wiring a Les Paul. Basically, neither of them's wrong, but both volume controls shouldn't. One volume knob shouldn't lower both of them. It should be pretty easy to get around that because you basically got on an SG, you've got one pickup goes to the volume, the tone comes off it, and then it goes from the volume into the switch. That's how it should do it. And then the other one goes into the neck volume and then goes to the switch with the tone coming off it. That's so it shouldn't turn both of them off unless something's not right. If you're talking about the middle position, then it depends how it's wired. Oh. I could hear the difference, but not a lot without a phase. I only works when you get two pickups on. So it depends which guitar you've got. So if you've got like a two humbucker guitar and there's a phase switch, if you phase it when you're just on the bridge humbucker, it doesn't do anything. All you're doing is flipping the pickup round. But it doesn't matter until you've got two of them, and because one of them's backwards, they fight against each other. Oh. But a phase switch is one of those things that you only know is there if you know that it's a phase switch. It's like it's very difficult. If someone gives me a guitar and it's like, how's this wired? Even if it's one of my own, it's like if I look at the switch, I take the back off and look at how it's wired, I can see what it is it does. Then I can totally hear that that's a phase switch and that's a coil split. Whereas if you just give me a guitar and go, what's this sound and this sound, it's like it's dead hard. Chilling in the backyard, lovely. Steps in a shit and crushed a small snail with bare feet. Who's the festival? Well, I didn't stand in a shit or crush a snail. I don't know what sort of festivals you're going to. Error, wrong typing. I'm trying to think if I've got a guitar with phase on it. The Blazer there's got a phase switch, which is the switch is actually a bit shit and a bit intermittent, but I never use it. What phase does sound really good on is a Les Paul, because to see if you've got like two humbucker pickups and they've got covers on them, so you can't, and there's no coil split wire, you can sort of get a more Fendery Stratty sound. It's like people call it the Peter Green mod. When you're in the middle position and you flip the phase of one of the pickups, that sound is a bit, it's kind of getting onto that kind of thing. Sort of. It's one of those things where it's like, if you're looking for something to add a third sound, I mean, to be honest, in a two pickup guitar, like, if that was the option, like an SG or something like that, it's not that often I'm using both the humbuckers at the same time. Anyway, I would be using the neck pickup or using the bridge pickup. I generally don't use the two together. So to be honest, in the middle position, the out of phase sounds would be more use to me. That is not how I've wired up any of my guitars, but it would be more use. Same thing with that, the Buckycaster that got lowered from the roof in the Barras. It's an Ibanez. It's actually very similar to that silver one, apart from it's green. And it's an HH, but I made it so it's got a three-way switch. So I made it in the bridge position, it's the bridge humbucker, and in the neck position, it's the neck humbucker. But in the middle position, it coil splits both of them, so you get like a sort of Telecaster sound, which is, to me, is much more useful than two humbuckers on at the same time. On a Les Paul or an SG, you can argue that there's something that can be done with fidget with the two volumes and kind of blending the two together, which I've never really got into that much, but it can be done. Bands with a shock name is not always a good idea. I can't really think of any. One of the worst names. I bought a prog rock album by a band called Ross, ROSS, and it's got a really good cover. It's like a sort of psychedelic helter skelter painting. It's pretty cool. The band's called Ross, though. That's a terrible name for a band. They weren't really that good. But did you not have to send out 3 A4 handwritten instructions to a Buckycaster? No, basically what I've done with all the Buckycasters, if you've noticed in all the videos, every single one starts off with me telling you what the switches do, so that if anyone ever asks me, I can go, oh, what number of Buckycaster it is have you got? Number 21, I'll look up the video for 21 at the very start and go, yeah, so this is Bucky number 21. This has got three humbuckers in it, and it's like, this switch is a coil split, this is a... So I can't tell what it does. It's happened to me before. I remember doing an SG from a pal Alan, actually, and it had like a triple bucker that I'd made in the neck. So like a triple bucker and a humbucker, and it had some switches on it. And he bought it off me, and he's like, I'll give you half the money now and half the money at the end of the month. I think it was whatever. It doesn't matter. I know the guy. And then when I got it back to him, I was up here looking at it. I was up here. Yeah, so I was hand over. I was up here. Yeah, so this switch. Oh fuck him. And because he'd watched the video before he come and picked up, I was up here. No, that switch is a coil split. I saw it is. Yeah, totally. It's a coil split. And it's like, and he told me what the switches were. That was a fucking good idea. Whoever did that was clever. I don't remember. Fred Zepp. Fred Zeppelin's pretty good. I've actually got an album called Dread Zeppelin, which is a reggae, like a reggae band doing Led Zeppelin covers. I haven't listened to it forever. It was kind of funny. Fred Zeppelin's quite good. The best cover bands can have some good names. I don't think After the End's a superb name, but it's all right. My favourite one was I don't know if it's still there. It was an advert for a cult tribute band, like a Scottish cult tribute band that did a poster up in the studio, in Berkeley studio, looking for, I don't know, guitars, whatever it was they were looking for, and they're called The Kilt. I thought that was quite good. Dub Side of the Moon, oh dear. Yes. Fred Zepp live are amazing. Brilliant. I don't know, I kind of went off Led Zeppelin. It's a shame because they used to be one of my big ones. I kind of have my three favorite bands at one point, like when I was, I don't know, 15 or 16, were Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Deep Purple. And I kind of went off Deep Purple. I don't really know why. They just kind of faded away a little bit. And then Led Zeppelin, they kind of did as well. I watched there was a YouTube video. I've not been able to find it since, but it was just showing you all the songs they stole. And I was like, when you watch it, you go, I kind of find well that, a lot of the first couple of albums, there's a few songs that are like, they change the credits on them. So the CDs say, like, by Willie Dixon and all that, but the original albums say, by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, even though it's blatantly a cover and shit like that. But the Led Zeppelin's crimes against it are really bad. It's like all the songs, there's even things like Communication Breakdown. Oh, that's Led Zeppelin one's got Communication. It's fucking there's another song that's exactly the same as that. That's everything's the same, but the chorus sort of thing, and it's like it's really bad. I mean, their versions are very well produced and they're really interesting versions of the songs, but they do say by Page and Plant on them, and they're not. It is a Howlin' Wolf song, 100%. Like, it's a slightly faster version, or it's got acoustics in it or something, but it's the same song. And so many Led Zeppelin songs are like that. So many he thought are good. I mean, there was we all knew, but I mean, even things like Whole Lot of Love. That I Need Cool and maybe is from something else, but you don't realize that whoever did the original song was actually a Steve Marriott version of whatever the song's not called Whole Lot of Love. It's Lots of Love or something. And it does have da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun. It's that, and it's got You Need Fooling, Baby I'm Not Cool, and da, 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 da. It's that, and it's like Led Zeppelin's version is better recorded, but it's the same fucking song, and it's like that's their big hit. So it's kind of bizarre, kind of bad, man. Where's Scott? Is he hiding from the law? No, I've been doing too much skill extracting with him. So he's doing the work on these guitars. It's like a collaboration thing. Jen's painting them, I'm wiring them, and Scott's finishing them off, doing setups. I've frozen. It's fucking roasting. I've not frozen. Anyone else think I've frozen? Dub Side of the Moon it's something I would never even consider listening. Well, I should probably look it up. It'd be on YouTube now. It's something I kind of remember it kicking about. I can remember even seeing it in bootlegs, CDs and stuff. Generally, Led Zeppelin interviewed 69, surprised they were 20 years old and looked 35. Yeah. I remember being absolutely couldn't believe it when I met, when I saw The Song Remains the Same film and the bit where they're talking. That bit, does anyone remember Laughter? And it's like, two dates, but these are tomorrow and all that. And I was like, all right, cool. I didn't realize that's how they actually talked. It's quite bizarre. Everybody rips off everybody. Yeah, sort of, but there's the intention with it. That's my main, getting back onto Noel Gallagher. That's my main problem with Noel Gallagher. He did the Jimmy Page thing. It's like, it wasn't a case of I wrote a song. We've all done it. Writing a song and then going in and playing it a bit and then going, I'm getting quite into this. And then somebody goes like, that's the one was really proud of. K19, The Widowmaker is a song I wrote on my solo album. I was really proud of it and thought it was great. And then my pal Mo listened to it, goes like, all right, Atomic. Oh, fuck. So it is. It didn't have the da 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 da, but the rest of the song was pretty much the same. Like, that bastard. And I'd fucking managed to record it and show everyone before I realised that that's what I'd done. That's different from the Noel Gallagher thing, because I remember watching a documentary which made me hate him even more. Whereas that part, yeah, we wanted to write a song like This Bird Has Flown by the Beatles. So I bought the book with the chords in it, and I took the chords and I copied the chords for that bit, and then I put an extra G in it, and then I didn't bother with those two chords, and then I took the melody line, and then I wrote fucking She's Electric. And you're like, that's not bastard. Treating you like idiots. Oh. Easy Star on the All Stars for him. I don't know who that is. Robert Plant is a true music fan. Yes, I do like Robert Plant. I saw him live at the live floor show in the BBC. So I was basically, there was a stage. Robert Plant's foot would be where that acoustic is, sitting like that with a TV camera going over my head. Fucking amazing. He did this most amazing thing where it was like, I think it was like an encore actually. It wasn't recorded. He's like, can we do one more? Can we do one more song? And everyone's like, yeah. And the producer's like, kind of, okay, we've stopped filming, but yeah, fuck it, go for it. There's that bit, right? Clap along, and it was like pure. Everyone clap along, or something like that. We're like, up here, that's interesting. Okay, go up here. And it's like this crazy rhythm. Let us do it for like 30 seconds, and then it came in. It was like pure do 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 do. Fucking amazing. A truly lovely guy. Why does Robert Plant speak posh, no Burmese accent? I don't think he does. Does he? There is. I did see an interview with him. It was he was obviously a pal of Billy Connolly, and it was some, I don't know, some TV show in the 70s, I assume. And it was up here. Billy Connolly was the host. I think it might have even been Top of the Pops. It's up here. Oh, we got a John Bonham interview. It's up here. It's up here. It's up here. So John, it's up here. You really don't do very many interviews, do you? It's quite rare to actually get an interview with you. And John Bonham's like, up here. Yeah, that's true. That was the interview. It's quite funny. Led Zepp released some serious shite. That's bad stuff. I don't know if there's really that much stuff I don't like. They kind of had too many blues songs on most of their stuff. Blondie were great at Grasslow. Was that just the other day? I liked did Blondie had a song that is actually I forgot, I haven't put it up. Pete and Diesel did what's the relatively recent song they did like about 10 or 15 years ago. It kind of sounds like a greatest hits. Da na 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 na. I think it's a girl's name. That one, it's quite good. Debbie would still get it, I'm afraid. Yes. Actually, see Debbie Harry's autobiography book or a biography book. The inside cover's got a picture of her sitting in her living room with a portrait of herself behind her, painted by Jen. Because she's got one of Jen's, she does paintings. And some famous folk have them. Blondie's one of them. There's also a picture of Ian Gillan with a picture of with a painting of Ian Gillan going with a picture that she painted of Ian Gillan. Other folk as well. There's still in there. Yeah, I don't. I do really like him. That Blondie do have some great stuff though. Really, I mean, obviously, how can you not like Atomic? I mean, what's my favourite one? I used to love playing it the 8-string bass. I need distortion. I'm just gonna. I might not be able to do it. I used to be able to play "Call Me" on the 8-string bass. I always liked that song. Cover me with But they also do have, I remember Civet pointing out, I think it might actually be the lyrics to Cover Me. It's like Colour Me Your Car or something. The lyrics are maybe a little bit strange. Led Zeppelin seemed to copy what was going on at the time. So early stuff, very blues and acoustic stuff, then disco-y stuff later at the end. Yeah, I suppose so. I do like what's one of my favourite songs on In Through the Outdoors at Calusa Lambra? Ba bam ba bam ba bam ba bam bam ba bam ba bam ba bam. I quite like that. I quite like some of that stuff. Blondie do have like a bona fide. I don't know whether the actual greatest hits, but I mean, Blondie's one of those bands that I reckon if you went to see them, you'd go, "Oh, I know a couple of Blondie songs," but actually you know 12 that are really good. One of those bands. Same with Green Day were like that as well, and Bryan Adams as well. You know, it's like I went to these concerts because my pals were going. It's like, well, Green Day, I know 2 or 3 songs, will be fine. I didn't. You don't know 2 or 3. You don't know 2 or 3 Green Day songs that are good. You know 10 Green Day songs that are good easily. You just go, oh, I forgot this. I know this one, and it's like they were really good. And same with Bryan Adams. It's like you go, oh, I know, Run to You and Summer of '69 and the Robin Hood one, yeah, but no, you know 10 or 12, really good one, right? It 100% sounds like a Dolly Parton cover, like 100%. It doesn't sound a bit like it. It doesn't sound. Nothing else sounds wrong. And Desperado, why don't you come to you? That song sounds fine. But see, when you speed it up, it just sounds like it's just Desperado, why don't you? And it's totally fucking exact. It's bizarre. The other one's Rick Astley and Kylie Minogue. I don't. How did I find that out? I must have a 33 of Kelly. If no, it's the other way around. So a Kylie Minogue single is it? I Should Be So Lucky. If you put that on right, it's a maybe a 45. You play it at 33. Fuck it, it's Rick Astley. It's like totally. Even listening to it on a good stereo, knowing what it is you're doing, it's shocking how much it sounds like it. Like if you basically just put I Should Be So Lucky by Kylie Minogue at 33 instead of 45 and then put it out and say this is a Rick Astley song, you would go, oh, I didn't know Rick Astley covered Kylie Minogue. It's the same with Desperado. If you weren't aware of it, goes, have you heard? You could put it as a cover if someone was up here. Have you heard the Dolly Parton version of Desperado? No, and you put it on, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, Chapman Chin did the Sweet as well. Did they do But it produced by Chapman Chin? I didn't know that. I knew that they did. I knew they did the Sweet, yeah. And what was the one that was really bizarre? But I saw the Sweet and Slade. It was 12/12/12 that I saw them. So actually, it was 11 years ago. I just remember the date because it was 12/12/12. I can't remember who was supporting who. I think Slade was supporting Sweet. And the one that was a big hit that everyone was singing on was Wigwam Bam, was it? I can't remember. It was one song that everyone was singing. Why is this a big hit? Why is it not Fox on the Run? Or why is it not, a rumba, a Papa Joe, coconut, Papa Joe, a Papa Joe, Papa Doom. That's a fucking great song as well. Love to cover that. Oh, you saw Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams is brilliant. I mean, it is. But again, I bet you had twice as many songs, or 3 or 4 times as many songs as you thought he had that you thought were good. Yeah, no, I've got lots of time for Bryan Adams. I remember the only thing that looks good in me. Wow, 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 as you did it. Fucking great. It's great. I mean, it's not. I'm not claiming it's pop music. Yeah, but it's still rock and it's still good. But I mean, why not bother the charts with music that's actually quite good? It's like I know a lot of people my generation absolutely hate, especially a pal's wife Fiona, pure hated Bryan Adams because he was at number 1 for ages with that Robin Hood song. I remember it being on, but it kept something else off the charts. I don't know what it was. Something that should have been number 1, but they just didn't figure on Bryan Adams being number 1 for 10 weeks or something. A Black Sabbath version of Jolene. On a Strat, I can try. Slade are better than Sweet. So half the tempo. Well, it's quite difficult to do that at Sabbathing. The harvest of overdue, and I cannot be done to you, Jolie. Jolene, 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 Jolene. No, I'm too drunk. I could probably have done it if I was sober. One of these things you never know until you actually try and do it that you can't do it. I do remember playing it on. I remember playing that on the most spikiest BC Rich I ever saw, just because I thought it was funny. Slade are better than Sweet. Yeah, probably. The Sweet are good though. They do have some great songs. I mean, Fox on the Run, which is exactly the same as Do Ya. So. Watching everything I can see, woman. I can see it burning through the night above. I can feel it burning on the weekend. I can feel it burning, 'cause I never felt nothing like you. Do you want my love? Do you want my face? Do you want my love? The night away. Rabbits on the run, and toxic fox on the run. Everybody come, take a running jump, the night away. Rabbits on the run. But I'm the baby name. Yeah, they are both the same, even though I can't remember how to play either of them. Who wins in a fight? Well, the truth is, I don't know who Ryan Adams is, and I have heard him, and I instantly forgot him. So whoever he is, he's bland as fuck. Whereas Brian Adams is great. No. How fucking Morning is Broken. That's fucking. That's a. If I could remember the first chord, there was a time where I could play it. Like the first, Blackbird has, like the first dream, grace for the sun, Blackbird road. Yeah, could have been good. Yes, a Cat Stevens song as well. Ding. That's quite a powerful one. Morning is Broken, actually. Oh. I asked the band at our wedding to play AC/DC as a wedding dance. They wouldn't do it. So they gave us Brian Adams instead. I can understand how. Imagine I went to play AC/DC as a wedding and they wouldn't do it. It's like being in a band unable to play an AC/DC song is pretty unacceptable. Although I was trying to have a jam with Scott the other day, demoing these guitars for Jen. And it's like the songs he chooses to play are ones that I don't know, fucking Black and Black. It's like, yeah, I know I should, but I didn't. That album's the one I had a scratch in it. So in Bon Scott era, back play, but not that one. But you should be able to play an AC/DC song. Even if it's one you've never played before, surely everyone can play, fucking. Never had a woman, never got me all that long. Every time you feel, you can make me turn me on. Okay, maybe I can't play it. If the rest of the band could play it, I could wing it. Oh. My wedding dance was wonderful tonight. Wow. Narco, what was the first big guitar you got to start the collection? I suppose probably my Gibson SG. I don't know. It's like one of the biggest ones I got. I don't have it anymore. Was a Hondo Telecaster. It had a pointy headstock. It had like a leopard skin looking scratch plate, like Prince's guitar. Kind of looked like Prince's guitar part with a pointy headstock. And it was 30 quid in cash converters. And I bought it just because I kind of liked the idea of it. Basically, when I saw it, I was like, I offered the guy 20, and he's like, yeah, no, I just put it out on the floor 10 minutes ago. If you come back in a couple of weeks, I'll maybe take 20 for it, but I think someone will buy it. And I was like, 30. And if it'd been 40, I wouldn't have looked at it. It's very clever. So I was like, right, well, can you hold it for me for 10 minutes? I'm going to go out with a fag and think about it. So I went outside, sparked a fag, walked across the road, looked in the window of Guitar, and they had a Fender Badger telly for like 600 quid. And the Hondo just looked exactly the same. Like it was the same sort of transparent wood and shit. And it was like, that was a fucking amazing guitar. That was the big one for me because that's when I realized that cheap guitars aren't shit guitars. It doesn't have to be a Gibson or a Fender. It's not what I always believed was you can get a shit guitar for learning. Once you're in the studio or rehearsing with a band, you need to have a Squier or an Epiphone to be good enough to play along at volume. And then if you're gigging, you need to have a Gibson or a Fender. That's what I thought had to be the case. But at that point, I realized because I bought this Hondo for 30 quid that was as good as, well, as good as any Epiphone or any Squier easily, and it was 30 quid. And it's like, why was it 30 quid? Because it's got a pointy headstock that says Hondo on it. Whereas I know now that basically it was made in the same factory about 2-3 years before my Epiphone SG, which is it's now more than that, but I knew it was a £250 guitar. Now they're worth more than that. And this was a Hondo made in the same factory, but it was a Telecaster. So basically it was the Telecaster version of my Epiphone SG, and it was 30 quid. And I don't think they're quite as cheap as that now, but they're still there. Whole lot of woman. First big guitar, I don't know. That wasn't really starting the collection. I reckon it might have been the 8-string bass, actually, because that's the one I'll never sell. That's when I realized when I got I think it's got the silly aspect to it, the over, it's through neck, it's got tons of binding, it's got the ebony, the fucking flame maple and the solid ash and the wood. It's extreme. It's pointless, like excessively fancy. Things you don't need are on this guitar, and it was cheap because it's an 8-string bass, and nobody knows what an 8-string bass is. No, I say cheap. It's still 250 quid or something I paid for it. So that one probably, even though it wasn't until years later I realised I started getting other Washburns. It was guitar versions of it and stuff. I don't know, significant ones. But that's the thing I love about buying it. When I started buying the obscure guitars, because I can fix them, I've kind of got a safety net. Whereas if I'm buying it and if it's cheap enough, I'm not really going to lose. So if I can buy a guitar, it's like maybe the electric don't work. It's got an intermittent jack socket, or one of the volume controls is scratchy. Those sort of shit that knocks a big chunk off the price, because somebody who doesn't know how to fix these things are thinking, well, I'll take that to a shop. How much are they going to charge me? You got to think they're going to charge me 50 quid or 100 quid to do that, So the guitar, instead of being 200 quid, suddenly 100 quid, that kind of thing. It's probably not the same if you're looking at guitars that are £1,000. It's like people are would get it fixed. But it's that whole fear of buying a guitar for £100 and then having to spend £100 to make it work, and at the end you don't have a £200 guitar. But some of my favourite ones are ones that I didn't expect really to even like. I mean, even ones that took me a while to get into. I'm talking mainly about my Ibanez RG530, which I thought it just looks amazing. Best looking guitar in the world, apart from the Falcon. That's one of the last few to go. When I go, the one I'm buried with. It wasn't until later on I started to appreciate that it was actually a really fucking good guitar as well. It didn't really matter. It was fine. I always thought it was a perfectly okay guitar. I didn't realize how good it was until I was, until Scott offered me a Jaguar for it. And I'm not talking about a Jaguar like a Fender, like a Squier Jaguar. It was a 2-litre diesel estate Jaguar with a year's MOT for it. And you're like, what? put my car in for an MOT. Oh, good luck, Ian, man. It's everything's fucking expensive. Guitars are worth, cars are worth so much more than they were just a few years ago. I spent more on my MOT this year than I did on the car 4 years ago. Once I found it, once I had an inkling of how much it was going to cost to fix, I thought, well, fuck it, I'll just buy another one. And that was 4 years ago, so I'll be able to buy one that's 4 years newer for the same sort of money. No, what I was finding was instead of buying the diesel one, which is more expensive because they're better, I was only finding petrol ones, which were, when I was looking at mine, they were cheaper. The petrol ones were cheaper than the diesel. And the ones I could buy now are the same age as mine, but 4 years older, obviously, because it's 4 years later. So they're from the same year and they're petrol and they're twice the price. So it's like it quadrupled in value since I bought it. So good luck. It's worth keeping it going. Hey, Bjorn. Now the Panda's fine. Pandas were police cars at one time, yeah, but they were called Pandas because they were black and white, not because they were Fiat Pandas. There's quite a big difference between the modern Fiat Panda and the old ones. I remember my pal Michael's mum had a. Our pal Michael, his mum had a Panda from when we were allowed to drive when we were 17. That's what he had, and he came round one time to my house. So I'm going to change the brake pads. Can you show me how to do it? Can I do it in your driving? I was like, up here, yeah, totally. So I couldn't be bored doing it, but I showed him what bits to put where, and he was like, up here. I'll just get the spare tire, the spare wheel out. Oh, okay, cool. Is that up here? No, it's in the front. In the front? There's the engine not in the front? Aye. And it's like opened it up, and it was like took the tire out, and there's the engine, and it was like, because the only up at this point, the only cars I'd ever had all been ex-company cars from my dad's company, so they were like 1.8 diesels. So like a 1.8 litre engine is this size. The thing that was in this wee Panda was fucking, it was like that. It's just like that was the engine, was that size, like full on. It would be fucking hilarious. And it was like a conservatory. And I remember he saying his sister crashed it somewhere, and the engine basically came through the dashboard and landed on the passenger seat when they crashed. It's like, right, my Pandas know that one. Called Paris at Hammond Banjo. I've got wash burns and I changed the soap. For the Dugs, what have you been at the Dugs? Hey Dion, how's it going? I saw your faith. I've still not done anything with it. I'm sorry. I will sort it. I'm just trying to get rid of the backlog. See, having a week at download when I was away, and then just not being well for a week. It's just piling up. I think I can't help it when people say, "Up here, fix your guitars up here." Yeah, no problem. It's like fucking gotta get rid of some first. I've got to tell you, I feel really guilty about that. I haven't done yet. I need to do it. God, I will. This week I'm going to do so many guitars. I'll have more videos than I do guitars, basically. You got any wash burns, Mr. Whitesnake? Any good wash burns? I've not seen them. Yeah, the Twa Dogs. I've played the Twa Dogs song. The Dogs, all right, okay. Of course, I was there. I played in there with Jesse Ray and the Twa Dogs. It was hilarious. I remember when we were going to come on. It was like the introduction. We were on the stage and Jesse, I don't know, came in the front door, so we were already set up, ready to go. And then the MC was up here. Yeah, so tonight we've got funk legend. So just coming in here all the way from St. Boswell's up here. We've got, oh my God, because he walked in and just went woomph and basically pure slipped and just landed right on his back and pure tons of clatter. We're like, fuck, are you all right? And he just got up and continued on, and it was like his knees were bleeding and all that shit. But I mean, yeah, that's happened to me playing the Two Dogs. Oh. Can you have a wall completely of J-Pat's guitars next week live stream? I can, yes. As soon as you've asked Pontiac, I'll do it. They won't be mine, obviously, but yeah, how many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, well, kind of. Well, that's not mine. I've got 3, 4. I own 4. Is that right? No, this one, the wee bass, the Flying V, which I haven't fixed yet, and then the Yamaha bass, and yeah, I could do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only need to borrow 4 off Jen. Yeah, I'm sure she would lend me them. I'll just say, yeah, I want them on my wall for a video. So yes, Pontiac will do that. But I need to watch all of Burniston. I never saw it when it was on telly because it was out when it was on. But the bits I have seen are fucking great. wooden pallets. See that wooden pallets thing? See, whenever someone, I keep seeing it, like, you know, like local Facebook pages, like, you know, like three pallets, if anyone wants to pick them up. I have to post that thing, the video of the pallets, wooden pallets, and they never laugh, but I can't help it. I even put it at the start, sorry, but I have to post this. Pallets, wooden pallets. Yeah, I'm fucking hilarious. Never mind, did you feature the JPAX acoustic? No, the JPAX acoustic so far has one string. That one, and then when I put the one, I've just put electrics in it. I put one string on it, but the action's really high. I can pretty much up, but I can't quite get my finger. It's got too high an action, so I need to shave the bridge down. So when I put one string on, there's no point in putting all the strings on if the action's high. And that was like 7:30. It was like, I didn't get me bored doing that before the live stream. I'm hot. Look at the fucking sweat lines. It's ridiculous. Yeah, you definitely want a Washburn. Big shoe. Look at the nick of that big thing. That's obviously a Burniston thing. The one I remember seeing a Burniston one. It was when they were buying a pure ridiculous amount of shit from an ice cream man, and then it's like, you take gingies, and it was like your iron brew bottles, and they had a big pile of them. I did like Burniston. I just haven't seen enough of it. Obviously, I've seen the Scottish voice recognition thing when they're trying to go to, was it 11? It's like, hello to our voice recognition elevator. Just say the number of the floor you'd like to go to. 11. Please repeat that. 11. I think you want to go to floor 2. 11. Fucking 11. And it's fucking great. Yes. You just, Mr. White, so you just said Washburns look cheap. Really? You're not looking at the right Washburns then. You'll find one. Get a wing, a hawk or a falcon or an eagle, or a stage series. They're fucking great. And a force. You'll get a force because nobody knows what they are. They're fucking excellent. You'll like it. It's Roadstar rivaling. Not quite as good as the Roadstar, but it's very similar. Very similar. It's like they're small. The quality is the same. I mean, double denim, baby. I've gone more than double denim. I had denim shoes at one point. I was going triple denim jacket, jeans, and denim. Well, basically, they were like Converse All Stars that were made of jeans. Very good. Washburns are going to start going up in price though. I've actually sold the Black Hawk, and the guy never gave me any money for it. So I was like, up here after like a few days. Up here, you actually want this guitar? He's like, oh, sorry, I'm just really busy. I'll give you the money, and he paid it. But he's not got back to me. I keep messaging him and go, do you want to, I don't know, come and pick it up or something? Maybe. Don't know. Washburn Force 3 for the win. Not cheap in you. They're not cheap, no. That's a Force 2. The Force 3 is basically the same, but it's got 3 single coils in it. Yeah. No, Neil and Andy, I've never actually, I don't think I've ever owned a denim shirt, but I could do it. I'm sure I've done quadruple denim. I can't think what the fourth thing was. I definitely had denim Converse All Stars jeans and a denim jacket. There must have been. I mean, you get other denim stuff, can't I don't know. I've never really struggled with it. I'm not a fashion guru, I'm afraid. I had no problems wearing basically these shorts, which are ridiculous. But I don't care. And I spent the entire download wearing this jumper, and on the first night, 10 individual folk go up and goes, "Oh man, can I get a photo with you?" It's like obviously Scottish people, like a radar. But this is actually spandex. If you actually look at someone looked at the label, pre-shrunk polyester and spandex. It's actual spandex. It doesn't just look like it. It is, and it's like spandex is great because it was really hot and the sun was out, right? But spandex has zero insulation properties whatsoever. it doesn't make you hot at all. So the thing was with this, the big difference this year at Download was I was wearing this over a t-shirt, which meant I didn't have to put suntan lotion on my arms because I was wearing spandex, and it meant I wasn't as dirty. So I didn't feel as dirty. Because the thing is, like, you go to something like Download where it's like you put on the sunblock because you have to, because I'm Scottish, and then you go out and there's just dust everywhere and shit, and it just coats you, so you end up like basically rough casting your arms, and you just feel really manky totally. And it's like, so basically spandex for the win. Oh, denim wallet. What's your a quo? Yeah, there's a. I think Status Quo did have denim scratch plates. I actually bought a guitar. No, where was the guy? He was in Johnson, somewhere out there, somewhere past Paisley, and I bought a. I can't remember what it was I bought off him, but I bought a BC Rich neck, which I'm still waiting for, like a pointy headstock. The droopy headstock looks cool as fuck. BC Rich neck. I've just not quite found the guitar for it yet. But he had a denim Telecaster that he wasn't selling yet, but I'll maybe give you a shout later. And he basically somehow managed to attach jeans to a telly, and it kind of looked all right. Like it wasn't. It was well done. He'd obviously spent a lot of time on it. Pretty cool. Does manky mean? No, manky's it's just dirty, really dirty. Denim underwear, denim jeans and jacket by Levi's was ranch wear till 1957 when denim became streetwear. Out of the late 60s, Levi's tucker jacket worth a bomb paid $6. There you go. Manky means minging. Yeah, totally. It's hack it. I know there's a lot of the thing is these words are funnier because you get bored saying dirty. Manky's worse than dirty. I got a big apology. Oh, what's the word I used? I can't remember the word I used to describe one of the Bucky Rage guitarist's guitars. So I took it to bits, and it was like there was still damp sweating below the scratch plate. It was still wet. It was pure giving me the bulk. And he actually phoned me about 20 minutes after the video. It was like, I'm really sorry about the guitar. I was like, sorry, I was having a joke. It wasn't that bad. Manky sounds a bit like man plus monkey. Clorty. I don't know if I've heard Clorty. Clatty. Definitely. I'm not sponsored because they've not given me. I should be fucking sponsored by Buckfast. Yes, bastards. Clatty, not Clotty. Jeans with matching jacket and white was mod, came from the Ranchers. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would. A55 Strat, another Strat. Welcome. Don't know you. The tellies in denim. Yeah, possibly it was maybe just copied. I don't know what that does for the sound, the tone quality. Mind you, it's like you're talking about putting tone paint on the acoustic, whether it'll affect it. I'm pretty sure you used to get a thing that was like the shoes, the protective things you put over your shoes when you're going viewing houses, like the wee plastic bags, kind of like shower caps that go on your feet. I'm sure I've seen that you got Elvis had one on one of his acoustics, which was kind of like a sort of leather with an elasticated bit that kind of went around the whole guitar. Apart from that bit to stop it getting scratched around the edges because it's an expensive guitar. I mean, what does that do to the sound? I mean, putting like an elastic leather thing all the way around it. I don't know. Oh, wear spandex in my spare time because I'm a hero. Yes. I wear spandex. I've never worn spandex, but I wore it all the way at Download. It's fucking great. Minky Black Cat sack is worst. Leather was a. She's a clatty, minging, manky boot. Munter is better than boot there for the last one. A clatty, minging, manky munter was better. Kicker shoes. Talk White Snake. You're a meme. Yeah. Keep forgetting this is a really fucking good guitar. That's where it comes down to, like, you're slagging off Fenders and stuff like that, and it's like, this is every bit as good as the Roadster and the Washburn and all that, because they're all made in the same fucking factory by the same people. Coated in cow. Denim is a French town. The denim cloth originally came from, made from tents. always good to learn shit. I agree. I didn't know that, but it sounds totally feasible, and I believe you. Did not know that. I suppose that's kind of like your champagne comes from champagne, doesn't it, and stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyone know what a kipper is? Kippers are a smoked haddock from Tarbert or Loch Fyne. If it doesn't come from Tarbert or Loch Fyne, it's not a kipper. So you may have been eating. It's a fish, but it's got to be from Tarbert and Loch Fyne, technically. Otherwise, it can't be called a kipper. So even if you're buying kippers and stuff like that, and you're buying them, and they're not actually called kippers because you're not allowed to call it that because, well, maybe I don't know. That was one of your Euro trademark things. You know, where you could only make whiskey in Scotland. If you make it anywhere else, it's not allowed to be whiskey. Some fucking law thing to, like trademark infringement shit. If it doesn't come from, it's like, well, there's no E in it, WHISKY, not EY, it can't be made anywhere but Scotland. Kippers ain't smokies. No, that's our broth smokies. They're from our broth, but kippers come from Tarbert. Well, I suppose you could basically pick them up on Loch Fyne and go to our broth. It's only 10 miles by boat, isn't it? Oh, did you see Andy? Did you see the video? We went to the, what do you call it? That the Hang in the Haw, whatever it was called, that fish and chip shop that was on the port. That was pretty good. You should go there. Morrissey spent too much time on vintage like his. Do Scotch eggs need to be wrapped in Scotland? Scotch is a funny word though, because Scotch is not one that any of us ever use. Nobody ever says, "Oh, it's Scotch." For us, Scotch is Scotch tape or Scotch cassettes is like a company. It's like, Scotch is not a thing. It's not a word that's ever used by any Scottish person to describe anything. Scotch eggs, yeah. No, they are called Scotch eggs. Yeah. You get real Scotch eggs and fake Scotch eggs. You get Scotch eggs that have actually got like just a boiled egg with sausage shit around it. That's fine. And then you get the mini ones, which is like mashed up egg. So that's not the same thing. It's not a real Scotch egg. Mars bars lied because they're not from Mars. Marathon bars. I remember the marathon. I remember going on a school trip to Switzerland, maybe second year at high school, something like that. We actually out the window. I could see the dam from Goldeneye, and we went to the dam from Goldeneye, the bit where he bungee jumps off it. And this was before Goldeneye came out, because I remember watching Goldeneye and going, "Fucking that! I've been there." Mum and Dad are like, "Fucking shut up!" Like, no, I've been. And that's where the Goldeneye dam was. But I remember stopping in France on the way, and we were going into like a petrol station. Everyone was buying Twixes because they were called something else, marathons because they were called Snickers, and all the things that we knew that had different names. And I'd be like, "Look, I've got Raiders." Was that what a Twix was called? I can't remember. There was about 3 or 4 things that you could buy that were very clearly the same thing. What else was there? Was Sprite one of them? There was like drinks as well. And it's like, I can tell with the logo. Look, this is obviously Fanta, but it's not called Fanta. We're having this, and that's what everyone bought. Lardy sausage meat, yeah. Your brother-in-law was in Goldeneye. Fantastic. One of the best James Bond films, I think. Partly because of the computer game. I'm of the era that remembers the computer game coming out and being absolutely mind blown by it. Even though the computer game came out like a good, it wasn't I don't even think it was the current James Bond film. But, who did he play in Goldeneye? Or just an extra? That's something I'm not been in a film. Wouldn't mind being in a film. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Just a shit part. The part of the singer in Cranking House was in is it Outlander? It's called. He was being an extra. I should actually got onto him and got in. I would have done well in that with the hair and all that. But he was like an English soldier in Outlander where they're out fighting the Highlanders in the fields and shit as an extra. So I need to watch that when it comes out. I should have fucking gone with him actually. I don't know why I didn't. This Jay Turser, actually. Jay Turser's one I don't. Who is it that's got a similar name to Jay Turser that isn't nothing to do with guitars? There's something. Is it Cars or something? I kind of know the name or something that's very similar to Jay Turser, but it's not the guitars. I don't know. It's actually nice after all the sets up and mods. I don't know what it's one of those ones. I think I've seen them before. And it's like you kind of they're one of those ones that you sometimes see suspiciously cheap. You know, you're kind of looking at it and going, "That looks awful good. Why is it only £100? It must be shit." Which is probably why I managed to get a lot of these guitars cheap. I mean, I think it's happening less now. But if you go back 10 years, why are West Tone Thunders cheap? Because they must be shit. I'll not buy one of them. I'll buy a Squire instead. And it's like, actually, for the price of that Squire, you could have got a bass that's as good as an American Fender, straight up, no arguments, rather than buy the Squire. But it's a West Tone. They're cheap. They must be shit. I don't think that happens as much now as it used to. Keep forgetting Gold Night. God, it's a good film. It's got Sean Bean in it. It must be good. They hired the Scots Guards to play the Russians at the start. He kicks the door on at the start of the film. Brilliant. Amazing. So he's in the what's the facility the level's called? The thing that GoldenEye did so well, the computer game, was you recognize the first two levels specifically look like the film. And I don't think anyone had ever seen that before at the time. It was like, oh my God. And it was like the whole kind of like Doom, but upgraded because you could look up and down. I remember the absolute, me and my wee brother sitting playing it on the first, it must have been a Christmas in, I don't know, what, 90, when did that come out, 92 or whatever it was. So I'd been like 12 or 13, he'd be like 8 or something, and watching it, and it was like, oh my God, look, we've got the sniper rifle on the first level, standing like a tower and zooming in. Oh my God, zooming in, look, you can, and it sounds, of course you can zoom in with a sniper rifle. No one had ever seen that before. And zooming in into this tower in the distance and going, oh my God, you can see a guy on the other tower. Like, can you shoot him? Like, what? You fucking really? So I shot him, and the thing was, I shot him like in the hand, and he went. Ugh. I was like, no, he's shot me. And I tried to shoot him again. He ran. He fucking ran down the tower, and you could see him running towards me. It took him 5 minutes to run, and I was like, this is pure mind blowing. Absolutely, completely different thing. Guy used to buy Harsher was an extra in Braveheart. Wallace's dad's funeral. Fantastic. There was a time when everyone. I'm a couple of years too young to have been in Braveheart, but everyone else was in it. Yeah. And I used to know a couple of guys whose arses were in it, when it's the bit where they show their bums to the thing. I mean, I keep getting mad flashes of bad connection. Jay Sturser started his Samick 88, kept going. The Les Pauls look nice, about 200 the Jay Stursers are cheap sleepers. Possibly, yeah. And the chances of them being Samick are really high. It can't be as much. I think I need to find the article. It's something like it's either a third or 2/3 of all the electric guitars made in the world in the 90s were made by Samick. It's something stupid like that, or I think it's a third of or 2/3 of all electric guitars made in the 90s were either Samick or Cort. So they made lots of them. Used to go with a Lasco Goldeneye. She'd an amazing farter. That's a joke I don't understand, but very good. These Bakelite made in Japan compensated nut thing would sound work. It won't be it won't be Bakelite compensated nut. It must be what do you call it? Tusk or fucking whatever. Graphtech, that's what they call it. That's what the Westones come with. Blackverts, yeah, possibly. It's subliminal things, but just flashes pictures out. Cort stuff I like aesthetics. Some of it, Cort are good. I mean, Cort make all the Squires. The ones, any ones that start with IC or Indonesian Cort. They did have a problem a few years ago with the way they were treating their workers. They used to have like a water tower in the middle of the factory that you used to be able to climb up, like as a sort of touristy thing, and they had to fence it off because the workers were going up to the top of the tower and jumping off and killing themselves because they were getting paid too less. But the Cort solo albums, no, they seem to be awful good. Again, it's your era thing. The thing is, we don't know now how much these things cost new. Because occasionally you see a Cort that looks kind of all right, from the early 90s, and you go, oh, Cort, early 90s, that'll be fine. At the time, they were making, Epiphones and shit, so it must be fine. But were they like a fifth of the price of Epiphones? Because you do get ones that the Cort did delve into the plywood, pot metal, absolute shanners thing. Maybe not so much the necks. The necks were always all right. I'm thinking mainly of I had a Kramer. It wasn't mine, it was my pal's. A Kramer Beretta or something like that, which was proper badge Kramer and said Beretta, and it was only like 2 years newer than my Focus 3000 by Kramer in small letters. So it's like his was a real Kramer and mine was a Focus 3000 by Kramer on it. And the difference was basically that my Kramer is this, because it's a Japanese, it's got a pointy headstock and it's a slightly different shape, but it's the same quality as these. And his one was not. It was way below. It was terrible. It wasn't terrible. The neck was all right on it, but the body was plywood. The pickups were pish. The bridge was made of Weetabix. The tuners were those ones that you can just see if you just go, you can just pull them straight off the guitar. That, that everyone had that sort of quality to it. It's like, oh, this bridge, watch this. And you could just pull it out. Quality stuff. No, Bakelite is a narrow, thin strip that goes next to that, compensates well. Ricky Bass nuts are Bakelite. We know what happens though, 50 years of Bakelite. Is there right? You're talking about the N64? See what you can get. I bought this. Can't see it. Basically, it's a cheap ass fake Xbox controller with a USB thing on it. And you just plug it into the computer and you just type in, I don't know, I mean, is it emulators? You just type in, what I did was I play F-Zero X for free, and I can play F-Zero X just on the computer. And it's like HD and shit, which it never was originally. The actual analog controller doesn't have it though. It's like kind of, one of the things about F-Zero was that it was just the master of the original N64 analog controller, where it's like you're going so fast, you just go, ooh, and you could just turn a wee bit like that. Ooh, which is great when you're doing 2,000 miles an hour. Whereas that analog controller is a bit more, you know what I mean? It's like you just want to go, ooh, you kind of have to file nut slots very low so string sits on the compensator. I don't know what you're talking about with the compensator. Then I was thinking, I know you get, there's an ear Vanna they're called, where it's basically the nuts kind of does that. There's bits you could do it. You could sort of do it with a Dremel to cut it down. I don't actually have a guitar with one, but I was going to try and copy it and see if it works. Had a plywood Samick Squire, but as you say, had a brilliant neck. Yes, no, there was an era, Andy, that Squires had fantastic necks, but the tuners were shocking. The bridge and the pickup, it was real crap stuff. But the necks were really good for some years. But the time you get to now, you will not get a neck made of the same quality of wood as that Samick one. But everything else, they don't put shit hardware on guitars anymore, because I think now you can just get them cheap enough. It's not a case of, oh, we're spending £1 on shit tuners and £3 to get good ones. It's like they don't even bother making shit ones anymore. So you just buy the standard ones. That's what, hardware is really, with the exception of that Burswood thing where I think they managed to buy all the shit out the bin that was rejected from the factory or something. But for any of these things, you no longer get the really shit pickups you used to get in the 90s and maybe even early 2000s, when you would buy a guitar and basically the high E string didn't come through. It's like dun 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 dun. It just didn't come through because the pickup was so shit it didn't pick up the high E string. You don't see that, and what you don't get, they don't even make those pickups anymore, because I think it's like, why are we making these shit ones? Why don't we just make good ones? So to get there. That bit in Goldeneye, we had to surrender to the guards. Did my nut in for days. I don't know if I remember that. Drinking tequila water now. So nice. She got legs. She knows how to use them. Yes, the inside of Gork was weird at 3 hours. But the thing which was so amazing about Goldeneye was, I mean, I'm talking about having a 14-inch TV. It's that size. And you could play 4-player, because the N64 had 4 controllers on it. I remember playing 4-player Goldeneye in my room with my pals on a split screen on a 14-inch telly and still being able to play it. But the thing was so great about it was, see, on your first ever shot of the game, see if you just held the middle thing like a gun, the thumbstick moved which direction you went, not looking up and down, just moved you, like that forward and backwards, which is all you needed really, and that was shoot. So in your first ever multiplayer game of GoldenEye, not saying you would win, but in that first 5-minute game, you would shoot somebody else and kill them intentionally on your first ever go, which is so rare for any games now. You don't get a game like that. It's like, so on your first go, you actually kind of get enough of a hang of it to have fun. Amazing. Original hum pickup by Jay Tussle was quiet. Change the pot. Now it's so sweet. It could have just been a broken pot, though. I don't know. It's unlikely to be a low quality pot. Changing a pot wouldn't make a noticeable difference unless the original pot was fucked. It's that whole thing about like changing between a 500k pot, a 200k, 250k pot, or changing from an A to a B pot. Yeah, things are different, but at full volume, it's not going to be massively different. It's not going to be like pure, oh, it's pure shit. Oh, it's pure amazing. It's going to be, oh, I've got the wrong pot in. Yeah, it's not quite operating at full potential. You put the right pot in. Oh, that's it. There we go. It's just like, it's still enough to work. Oh. The best retro game was Sensible Soccer. I'm not old enough for it. Football. Talk about football. I've seen a USB controller that was 360 size but mapped out with 64 buttons. 64 as in N64 buttons. Look wicked and should be available for purchase. Pots were 20 years old. Yeah, I totally. Well, that's the thing. It's like that's kind of what's coming through a little bit with your the difference between, like we're talking about the the 80s Arias, the Samick built ones and stuff like that. They do not have the Japanese pots in them, whereas like your Westone Spectrums and your Westone Thunders, provided they've not been abused, are still awesome because they'd all go top parts on them. All the bits, there weren't shit bits in them. So anytime you get like a Westone Thunder that someone's changed the volume controls on it, it's because they physically dropped it and snapped it or something. You can't really upgrade it. Same with the tuners. I suppose technically they could have put lock-in tuners on it, but there's no point in upgrading them to not to just other tuners because they're already GOTA. Same with the pickups. It's like, oh, I don't like the sound of DiMarzio Super Distortions. Okay, we'll put Seymour Duncans in, or Gibson PAF type. But I mean, there's kind of no point in a Westone taking out the pickups and putting in DiMarzio Super Distortions because they're like that much different. Same sort of thing. Completed metal guitar solid after a bottle of tequila. I woke up naked with my wife on a blow-up mattress. What happened? This sounds fun. Burns Potters, I don't know. Wolfenstein, I do remember Wolfenstein. Mine Haven, yes. I remember that. My pal had that in his PC. This is pre-Doom shit. That was great. And I remember Duke Nukem as well on my dad's first Pentium PC. It was like Duke Nukem, and that was fucking a game changer as well. I was there for the primary thing. Right, I am. It's 11 o'clock. I know I've not finished, but I'm not feeling. I'm still fucked. I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for coming back. Not fucking off from when I was away on holiday. I was actually quite nervous about doing this tonight. I was worried about it all afternoon because I'm just still not right. It's kind of like, what am I going to do? I've not been on for 3 weeks. What was it? Loop I had in earlier on. I've still not bought Velcro for that pedal. Banjo-Kazooie. My wee brothers played that. That was after my time. Yes, so this guitar is not getting changed. I was thinking of putting the original neck that came on it back on it, but actually just playing it, it's every bit as good. The body compared to the Mexican body it came from, and then this thin purple square body that had it on, and then this one, it's not really affected the guitar in any way. It's still, the only thing that's pissing me off now is the fact it doesn't have a tremolo arm, but this is a Mexican block and all that. So I looked up because it's got some written in the back. It's got PW29 written in the back, so that's what I know what it is. So I must be able to buy a Mexican size tremolo block for whammy bar for a couple of quid. Must be easy to find. Give us some blues licks. Actually, that was one of the things I did in the blues band, which I've never done before. There was a quiet bit where it was just me going. With a one girl singing. Never the bear! The drums would be just a bit. It's great fun. I've reluctantly started using the pentatonic scale, felt it was overused. I don't even know what scales it is I'm using. I don't think I'm doing pentatonic all the time. It's kind of, I've just got bits of songs that I know stuck together. So I've kind of worked out solos from Black Sabbath songs and Stone songs and Beatles songs and stuff and just stick them together. So I don't really, I kind of know what key I'm in. I know I'm in A. I think I'm just playing the pentatonic, but occasionally sometimes it's got extra notes in it. I don't know. I'm afraid I don't think your only chance of getting one is to buy one of the ones she's already made. She's not doing any more for me either. I feel a bit guilty about the situation where the first one was fine. This one, because this is number one, which I think she's really pretty pissed off that I've got number one, because I don't think she realised they were going to turn out the way they did. She offered me this, says, you want this and you can paint it up as a bucky caster. Like, aye, that's cool. Yeah, well, I could paint it as a bucky caster. Like, aye, well, aye, on you go. Next one, you're an artist, you obviously know what you're doing. So what's a bucky caster? I don't know, it's like a yellow scratch plate, dark green body. So just make something that's kind of dark green and yellow with a bit of red in it, and then it's a bucky caster. That'll be awesome. And then it's this, like pure. That didn't really look like a bucky caster, but it's fucking awesome anyway. But I'm afraid she would sell your guitar, but it would be really expensive because her paintings go for hundreds of pounds, and basically what you're buying is a painting, but it's 3D. You can have this on a square piece of paper in a frame. There you go. Oh, it's easily 500 quid's worth. Easily. Like a pure bargain for like a completely unique piece of art, hand painted in a frame. You're like, all right, okay. And it's like, but this, look, it's got sides and it's a fucking guitar. That's good. So I don't know. They'll be flipping expensive. One has sold 600 quid for one of the stripy ones because they all look completely different. I mean, look at the difference of these things. You think the pickups might fall out of this? With that, you can tell it's done by the same person, but it doesn't really look. I'm trying. The pickups are sitting in it, but it's not the same thing. And the acoustic as well. Again, it's the same, but really not the same. That's what I was saying to her. Why don't you just paint the top? That's going to be like a third as much work as painting the sides and the top and the bottom. And she's like, that's not bad. I'd be quite happy. Just paint the top. This would still look mental. Obviously, it looks more mental when it goes all the way around. It's ridiculous. I think the best one might be the Raven, though. The Raven looks absolutely sick. I just haven't had time to put it back together again. I've not decided what I'm doing with it because I've got another Raven. The Raven that I said to get painted was my second Raven that I bought because the neck hadn't been stripped. It was one of my original one. The neck's been stripped, so I had to write Washburn on the headstock, and the body's kind of been stripped down, and it kind of looks like one of those wooden toilet seats. So I've got all the proper hardware and shit. Whereas that other Raven I think I bought it for 40 quid or something like that, and in a state with most of it missing, but the body and neck are there. Amazing. Yeah, Leo making, well, even more so nowadays when things are modular. This isn't the case when you're buying older guitars. If you're going from guitars from the 80s and 90s, the dimensions weren't all the same. Sometimes, the bridges, string spacing and all that. Nowadays, they're all just pretty much standard. Jen won't paint around. She is an artist and she will move on to something else. That's it. I totally understand. Her point is, I think, is like, it's that you don't want to cheapen them. It's got to be worth it as an artist. But the thing is, it's if you wanted her to paint you one that looks like this, she can't do it. I don't think it's not that she wouldn't want to. It's like, but she wouldn't be inspired to do it like this. It wouldn't look like this. Even if she tried to do it, it wouldn't have that. I mean, she's kind of talked to me. She doesn't know what it's going to look like. It's a process, and it's like I've told her, going. It's worth it. I'll go and get the Raven. I know it's sitting next door. Oh, it's so much cooler through here. Wow. I mean, what is that going to look like once it's got hardware on it? I mean, yes, you can see it's done by the same artist, but it's nothing like. I just think that looks absolutely fucking amazing, doesn't it? And there's another one which I was kind of like, is it the Telecaster? She's like, oh, the Telecaster's up here. It's like, yeah, I kind of want it. She's like, well, yeah, you can just have it. And Scott's like, I know you can. It's like, I don't know what this is worth. I mean, look at it. This is a Schools Out telly. So it's like, pure, yeah. This was obviously done somewhere between. This was done after the wee red bass, but before any of the new ones. So this has still got the letters and shit on it. Which you're like, up here, yes, it's just as awesome as all the other ones, but I don't know if you get it. It's like it's 3D when you look at it because everything else is shiny apart from Alice's face. Look at his eyes. But this is like the one I did before for her that was like the Frank Zappa one. Once this is done up, this has to be thousands of pounds worth. Look at it. And even see, it's got 3D eyeballs. It's totally insane shit. Fucking love it, but I'm really looking forward to getting this working. I just think it's got something, and it's like I even says, "I'm not going to paint the neck." I was like, "No, I kind of want to keep the neck red." So this actually has a sort of it works. It's like the original the pickups I've got are creams. I don't know whether cream's right or black. I don't know. I've not decided what to do with it yet. Oh. Quick, steal the soft tech. I need to use the soft tech more. The thing about the soft tech is, though, it doesn't, in all honesty, sound as good as some of the wee amps in here because it doesn't like being tamed. See, just running that straight through a 4x12 in the studio, or even better, that 3x12, just at kind of half on the gain, half on the preamp, not even that much. It just sounds the best guitar sound, exactly what I want for me. That's the sound that when I'm using pedals and I'm using other amps, I'm aiming for that through a 4x12 at half volume. It just sounds glorious. Oh, a key oscillator. Yeah, key oscillator. That's like a wee effects unit with a touch screen on the front. You can stick to the front of your guitar. Never bought one. So if Jen's paintings go for 500, let's say perfectly reasonable, can we add 500 to the guitar, one of a kind? Well, they're all one of a kind. You can see that by looking at it. I mean, you could argue that looking at this one is a little bit maybe. So this is number 1, and this is number 3. And you can see that this being number 1, this, you can see it's later. This is more like these. I mean, sort of what they're going to end up looking like, I don't know, but they're not going to look like this anymore, and they're not going to look like this anymore, and they're not going to look like this anymore. I don't know where they're going. Who knows? It's kind of mental. But also, I don't want to take the piss. The thing was, the original one was, so I'll just paint it silly and you can sell it. And it's like, as soon as I saw it, it was like pure, yeah, totally. I'll for that. I'll do it up, sell it. You'll get 100 quid for it. Yeah, 150 quid. And it's like, as soon as I started seeing it, I was like, pure, fuck off. I'm not. Because you got to remember the whole time that she was painting this one, particularly, I was at round the back of her shed, cladding it, and then going out and cutting wood. So I was walking past every 5 minutes. And every time I walked past, it was like after the first 5 minutes, it looked fucking amazing. And then I went past it again. She'd done more. And it was like, and more and more. And it's like, what did I stop? It looks fucking amazing already. She's like, I'm not done. And then you go back and it looks like this. So that's why it was like, it was that good. I couldn't just put the square neck back on it. That's why I put all the expensive stuff on it. Oh, when I get the Gretchen Robin, I'm going to try some George Benson. Give me this. How much was that? Was the encore 30 nights for 50? Well, I think so. Yes. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you sit there and it's like, what is it? If you're going to paint guitars like this, it's like, who's going to buy them? It's like there's kind of no point in painting a real shitter guitar because you might as well, as you say, it's £500 worth of paint on it. So you can start off with fair enough. If you're picking up a Squire or like the Washburn or something, like £100, £200 guitar, and you're starting with that, you're talking about at the end plus 500, it's going to be 600 quid. Or you can buy a pure shit, like you buy a Harley Benton for 50 quid and then do it, and it's still got, you still should be so it's 550 quid. So you can pay 550 quid for a Harley Benton painted like this, or 650 quid for a good guitar painted like this. So there's no point. I don't know George Benson at all. All I know is that he's an Ibanez artist and always has been. I remember keep seeing this. I need to go into my wee record shop. I've not been in for years. The record fair. If you're ever Glasgow bound, best record shop and always has been is the Record Fair. It's right next to the Tron Theatre. The guy is lovely. Oh. The fact that Jen is going to stop is correct. Limited number exists. Prices will go up. Well, yes, but I mean, this is the one that doesn't work, in it. You can't really read that one. I've got a number punch, so they're all from now on they're all numbered. Number 10, yeah, with a number punch. When I was round last Wednesday, I number punched 18 of them. I didn't number punch this one because it's number 1, but there's 19 as of last Wednesday guitars. That's not included, so there's 20 at least. I know she's done a Squire Telly. There's at least 21 and another Strat, so there's at least 22 in existence. And believe me, they're evolving. They've gone from this to that and that to that to, and who knows what we end up. How many JPEGs you have? I've got 5 and there's 22. And so far, only one's been sold. Only one does not belong to me or Jen. Nope, Scott's got one as well. Scott's got a Jazzmaster. A Jaguar. Is that a Jazzmaster? The Jaguar. He's got a Squire Classic Vibe Jaguar, done kind of in the same wave as this. Not saying it looks like this, because it's all different colours and shit, but it's kind of like this, the same way that this is kind of like the wee red base, and kind of like that. You know, you can sort of see the DNA between that and that a bit. This being the first one, this being a bit more advanced, this must be, this one's not even one of the guitars, because this was sitting in her, she painted that Alice Cooper on it years ago, or a couple of years ago, and then I saw it was sitting there, and the top was kind of like a terracotta, it looked a bit shit, to be honest. I was like, can you not paint that? Do the top of that, but leave the Alice Cooper. She's like, no, just paint over the Alice Cooper. It's like, no, can you not just leave the back? It's great. So she didn't leave the back. She kind of melted it in, but I just think that looks fucking stunning. I mean, look at it. And there's absolutely no, you know, sometimes you see a portrait and you go, oh, who's that? Who's going to look at that and not know immediately it's Alice Cooper? Nobody isn't. But you can buy one. Look, follow her on Facebook and ask her. If you're in America, she'll sell you one. Ask her. Check her out on Facebook, Jennifer Armstrong. If you go to Mad Malco Guitars, I'm linked to things. So J-Packs are only in Scotland right now. How much to ship to USA? She sold one for $600, all in to USA. It was. She didn't like what I'd named it. It's very quick, buddy. Me and Jen, in some ways, she's artistic, and I'm not. But we're kind of similar. We kind of agree with things and fight over the same things. I started naming them, and then she's like, "Oh, you're giving them names?" I was like, "Well, I had to put something." So now they're getting named, but not the names I chose because I didn't like those ones. I called it the stained glass guitar. She's like, "Oh, you've named it stained." It's not called that. It's just quite funny. All in good, good fun. 600. I mean, it is. The thing is, you're buying a guitar that it's not just. I mean, you're talking. Most of them are like, they're not shit guitars. They're ones that need the sort of guitar that if you put the effort in, way better than a Harley Benton. If you put the effort in, doing the frets and rewiring it and adjusting everything, you can get a really pretty decent guitar out of it. I'm doing all the wiring, Scott's doing all the setups, and he's much more intricate than I am. Scott can set a guitar up better than I can. I'm better at making a guitar that's pure shite play, whereas he's better at taking a guitar that already plays quite well to play very well. So I can do the initial bit. I start off with 2 planks of wood and a saw and nail something that actually works, and he does the bit where the final polishing. Better on a wall than the back of a guitar, though. Nobody can see it by your stomach. I know. That's the Alice Cooper one. I know. But I mean, look at the front of it. It's like it's going to look fucking awesome anyway. I mean, look at it. It's a Telecaster as well. Imagine that. Clear scratch plate, maple neck. Going to look amazing. Then it's like, this has got the pure, oh, that guitar's pure amazing. It's a School's Out one. Oh, why is it called that? Because it kind of looks like a blackboard. Yeah. But if you're hanging it, it's a painting, right? So see if it was a painting and it would be a really good painting of Alice Cooper. Just hang that on the wall and you've got your painting. That's just as good. You could even put a frame behind it. Just hang it on the wall that way. You've got your Alice Cooper painting. That's awesome. Oh, hold on. You can take it off the wall and play it. That's got to be worth more than a painting. It's 3D. I'm also thinking about going for if you've got like if you're a multi-millionaire and you've got a really expensive wife, get your entirely white house with fuck all in it. You've got one settee, puffy, it's just minimalist all the way. She's not going to let you hang a guitar on the wall. She might let you hang that because that's artwork, not just a guitar. So you could have your guitar in the living room. That was my thinking anyway. Anyhow, love you all. I'm going to bed. Catch you later. Lots of interesting stuff coming up during the week. I'll try not to put out quite as many J-Packs videos, although I might put some J-Packs videos out. I should probably do one when I'm over there. When the process is going on. We had a Right Wee Factory. If you originally should check out our page. I think I'm probably tagged in it if you're at Mad Malco Guitars. Or maybe it's just, I hope it's Mad Malco Guitars and not me on Facebook. She's tagged. But we were kind of doing a sort of, we had a Right Wee sweatshop factory going. I was sitting there taking guitars to bits, and Scott was setting up one, and then I was up here. She's up here. Can I help? I was up here. Yeah, put tuners on this. I was kind of delegating shit, and so the three of us are sitting up here talking shit and doing that. They must be worth tons, because they'll never repeat, especially seeing as the fact that physically, I think even if you were to ask her to do and give her lots of money to do one that looks like this, she's not going to be able to do one that looks exactly the same. And there's no way of copying it. The only way you could get a copy of this guitar is to, like, if you photographed it and then made it into a vinyl wrap sort of thing, is the only way to do it. Shows the process. Oh, I don't know. The process is quite bizarre. The thing is, after 2 minutes, you already go, that looks amazing, stop. And then it's not. It's another couple of hours. I mean, it's like, I'm saying it's amazingly fast and shit. It's not. It doesn't take 5 minutes to paint one of these. It doesn't. It takes all day. It's all to do with waiting and using different colours and drawing around shit and going back to it and poking it and making mistakes and then stop making mistakes and sorting it and putting bits in. But you see all sorts of crazy shit going on in them. You sit and see when you've got one hanging on your wall, especially the wee red bass. That's the one that's really been blowing my mind, because it's my favourite guitar anyway. Sometimes it looks dead dark and messy, but then sometimes it's like, see if you kind of cover up this bit, it's totally, the guitar is orange. And if you cover up this bit, look, it's turquoise. It's an entirely different guitar depending on which bit you look at. Fucking nuts. And this is the best bass in the world. And I'm going to get her to do the headstock. I've got a black bridge I'm going to put on it. I've got black Westone tuners that are going on it, and I'm going to get her to paint a headstock to match the rest of the guitar. She's offered to do it because I did like the idea of it being an encore. You know, she does headstocks. That's what the Yamaha headstock looks like, kind of tied in. This actually came with a plastic bit, which is, I keep seeing somewhere, it's not lying about. Fuck it. Oh, I knew the pickups would fall out of that. Oh. But that's the thing about that one though, because this bass, the reason I've never actually got it working is because I don't like the shape of that bass. It is a Yamaha, and it's like a 400 series Yamaha, so it's like an expensive and high quality active. It's got 2 humbuckers in it, 24 frets. It's a wonderful bass. It's just not my style. I wasn't aware of what these were going to look like when I gave it to her. I was giving her a better guitar, but there you go. Best bass in the world. I'm just going for it. Yeah, totally. It's the easiest. It's the fastest and easiest to play bass I've ever played, and it's like, it cost a tenner. Not now. Obviously now it's got a Washburn pickup in it, which to be fair I didn't pay any money for. That's the only thing I've changed. It's like I'm just going to go for upgrading that bass to having all the best shit on it. So it's getting not a Yngwie Malmsteen, an Eddie Van Halen tone pot, a CTS volume pot, a Washburn Vulture bridge, and I'm not decided yet what the tuner and the bridge are going to be, but there'll be good stuff that I've got. So it's just got the best. There's not that many bits to it. It's like what's in that bass: neck, body, tuners, pickup, pots, bridge. There isn't anything else there, so I might as well make it all as good as I can. Catch you all later. Thanks very much. And love you all. And see you during the week. And any questions, just ask me during the week, or I'll see what's going on. Whatever. Rock on! It's really annoying. That was looking really good. I ended in a silly face and everything, but I've got like a, are you sure you want to stop? I'm sure I do.